This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2022 AFL Premiership season.
We're gonna be kids.
Grandstand AFL
on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
There's a short-term stay in the top four on offer this afternoon under the roof at Docklands as St Kilda hosts Geelong, both 5 and 3 and eyeing off a September campaign and, at least for now, a spot inside the top four sides on the AFL table. No changes to either side. Cooper Stevens is the sub for Geelong. Marcus Windhager is the sub for St Kilda. They're out there warming up here on Grandstand AFL. Great to have your company after one that went all the way down to the wire at the MCG. Joel Peterson with you. Jess Webster alongside me to call it. G'day, Jess.
G'day, Joel. Excited for this one. Big game for the Saints with Richmond knocking off Hawthorn. They dropped to 8th on the ladder. Huge game for them against Geelong. And a big congratulations to you as well. Obviously tying the knot with Karen last week. Must have gone well because you're both on the commentary team tonight.
Yes, we're both here. We've made it here, Jess, and that's all that we were hoping for this evening. We'll get down to Kez on the boundary shortly. Our experts are St Kilda champion Nathan Burke and Chris Johnson, the Brisbane Lions premiership player. Jono, Burkey, good afternoon to you both. First to you, Burkey. What are you expecting this arvo?
Hello, Joel. Lovely to be here. Look, I'm expecting the Saints to play a completely different brand of football than they played in the first half last week. Just keepings off, not going anywhere. They need to take this game on. And for the Cats, look, I think I want to see them be a bit more attacking as well. There's been times this year when they've folded back into the old way of playing and it's been boring. When they actually attack, they look like a good team as well with Hawkins and Cameron, big fellas up one end. Give them lots of chances.
And Jono, for you?
Yeah, look, welcome everybody. Good to be with the team again. Look, I think for me, Geelong, what I'm looking for today is just seeing how their small forwards work. We know that their key forwards can do some damage, and I think both Close and Stengel, I want to see how they go about it because they've been up and down pretty much most of the year in terms of hitting the scoreboard. We know that Tom Hawkins can do that. And then on the other side, I'm really looking forward to see how King and Big Memory go, as well as Mason in there as well. So just want to look around what the forward line are looking like. Yes, we're gonna see different parts of the game where teams are going to go backwards laterally, and I want to see them attack as well as we done the game last week between. We've seen the Bombers really change that quickly. I want to see how these guys go about it and get that ball inside their forward 50 quick.
Completing our broadcast team this afternoon is the Carlton captain, 3-time AFLW All-Australian. You've come to know her as Karen Harrington. After a wedding last Saturday, she is Karen Peterson. Kez, welcome.
Hello, Joel. It's going to take a little bit of getting used to hearing, that's for sure.
What are conditions down like here under the roof? It can get a little bit warm at times. Is it okay, the Savo?
Yeah, it is a little bit warm down here at ground level. Clearly perfect conditions, no rain or wind. Obviously with the roof closed, St Kilda's won the toss. So they're going to be kicking to the Lockett end here at Docklands.
Good to see nepotism alive and well at the ABC.
Berkey's on fire early.
An early drive-by there, Berkey.
There's more coming.
I'm sure. I'm prepared for it. I've got a few to offer. A tip, Berkey, from you?
Look, if the Saints don't win, I'm just going to sit here and be quiet all day. So, Jono, it's all up to you.
Yeah, I think the Saints. I'm going to go with the Saints. I was down there this morning, seen the new facility. I'm going to stick with the Saints today.
So a valuable 4 points up for grabs under the roof this afternoon from the ruck. Ryder took it, but it's a free kick going the way of Stanley. Back into the side for Geelong this week. Just kicks it out wide to Atkins, who dishes off the hands to Duncan. A low ball inside 50, just not the required distance, in fact, to Cameron. Who has to handball to Dangerfield. Kick around the corner. There's a free player in space. And Stengel in the left forward pocket has a ping at goal and hits the point post for a minus score. The first score of the evening goes the way of the Cats. 1 point to Saints, yet to score.
Saints quickly bring it back into play. Mason Wood takes the mark. Shoots it short to Long. Long away to Battle, who kicks the broadcast side up toward King. Out points to Koning, takes the mark between the wing and half forward.
What a battle that's going to be today. De Koning and King, two young guns.
Both have made very bright starts to their season. Ben Long's got it at left half forward for the Saints. He's going to 9-iron it into the pocket. Ryder from the side. Marshall the target. Spills to ground. O'Connor's there for the Cats. Laid in a good tackle. Then ran into a second one. Umpire says says ball up. The left forward pocket for St Kilda.
Normally if you get out of one tackle and the second guy gets you, that's very lucky there, O'Connor.
So umpires found a free kick going the way of St Kilda to Ryder. Was just held out of that ruck contest. And he's going to line up for a shot on goal. Only 20 metres out, 5 metres in from the boundary, a tough angle.
Yeah, Selwood there just getting caught up, just trying to block Ryder out of it, playing innocent as well. It was certainly a professional block, and the umpire was quick to jump on it.
So Paddy Ryder setting himself up to go around the corner from the pocket. Oh, that's a beautiful way to start the afternoon for Saints fans. Ryder gets St Kilda on the board. 1 straight 6, Geelong 1 behind, 2 minutes played opening term.
John, I obviously think Paddy Ryder doesn't get the credit that he deserves for his importance with this team and also for his standing within the game as a ruckman.
I think people that know St Kilda and how they play and know Paddy, I think give credit. I think people, the needs of people actually go away, watch St Kilda play when Paddy's playing, and then go and watch them when Paddy's not playing in St Kilda, and it's a completely different outfit altogether, isn't it?
To me, he's almost their most important player.
And he's a different type of ruck to the Gaunt and the Grunters. He's just so crafty, isn't he?
Yep. I can't think of a better tap ruckman in the league than
He's
him.
like the Tom Hawkins of the rucks. I mean, similar profile in terms of age, but with what Hawkins does inside the 50 in terms of his craft, and even he can win it out with his head. The ball went straight up. He headed it on. It's the Cats who take it away through Dangerfield and Selwood. Selwood kicks inside the 50, spills out the back. Hawkins collects and only needs a moment's notice. Tom Hawkins straight into the action. The Cats with the instant response. They've got the lead. 1-1-7. The Saints 1 straight 6. 3 minutes played opening term.
Well, Josh Battle would want that 5 seconds back again. He completely outpointed his opponent with a big long high ball coming into the forward line and just let it slip through his fingers over the back. And Dougal Howard was trailing Hawkins into that contest. And as all good forwards do, they only need half a sniff, and that's all it took. And Hawkins snapped truly on the right.
You just can't let the ball over the back. It's simple. No. It's going to result in a shot on goal for a forward group, especially the forward group that they've got down there in the Cats. They've got small forwards everywhere. And Hawkins, what a superb kick. Just the nous there, just to know where the goals were.
So back in the middle, a goal apiece through the opening couple of minutes is Steele. Read the tap well, but tackled by Dangerfield, and we've got a ball up still inside the centre square.
Got Isaac Smith and Brad Hill against each other. That's going to cover a few kilometres, that grouping.
And Stanley wins the tap straight down to Steele, who had a fumble. Jones collects. He's stripped of it. Selwood caught high, and the umpire spotted it and awards the free kick. So Selwood can pump Geelong back into attack. Looks for Hawkins in the pocket. Well done, Howard at the front. Spoiled it away. Cam Guthrie collects, though. Handballs to Stengel just outside forward 50. Unsure where to go. Hacks a ball inside 50. Battles there to intercept for St Kilda. His kick outside defensive 50 is chopped off by the Cats, and Guthrie swings it inboard to find Atkins.
So Cam Guthrie to Atkins. Centre half forward for Geelong. Pokes the kick inside the 50 to Cameron, who led hard toward the boundary line right across the arc. Marks 40 metres out on a 45-degree angle right of centre.
A good call there, Joel. He done pretty much a 45-metre lead across laterally to get that. He knew where the space was and just moved to the space. That's the knowledge of a great forward. Instead of leading into traffic, he literally let laterally out of traffic.
5-2 last week for Jeremy Cameron. Hawkins kicked there first. Cameron can't quite get the second. It just slides away from right to left and strikes the outside of the left-hand goalpost. Cats by 2 points through 5 minutes.
Just the interesting match-up at the moment is that Mason Wood and Tom Stewart playing off the wing, which is unusual.
So battle to Ross, who looks for Sinclair, but they might have mucked it up, the Saints. Jones, though, is there. And give it back to Sinclair, and this time his kick finds Ryder inside the centre square. So Ryder, searching kick towards half forward for Marshall. Through his fingers, out the back is Long. He can't go with it. Narkle collects for the Cats. Gives it to O'Connor, whose kick out wide towards the wing. Won't stay in the field of play, and we've got a ball in.
Berkey, I've been watching that match-up with Tom Stewart. He looks lost on the wing. He's running around like a chook with no head at the moment. He doesn't know where to go and how to set up.
Chris Johnson and Nathan Burke, your experts on Grandstand AFL. Blitzarves won it in ruck. Crouch took it away. Handball went looking for Hill. Stolen by Isaac Smith of the Cats. Handball to Duncan as he links up back with with Smith through the centre of the ground. Blasts a left foot kick to full forward. Cameron brought it down. He took it away from Wilkie, knocked it toward the goal line, and it bounced through for a behind. 3 behinds the Cats lead through 6.5 minutes of the opening quarter.
Oops.
So Webster from the kick-in is turned it over. It's intercepted by Stanley. He can line up for a shot on goal 40 metres out.
Just a lack of urgency there. I think that the kick, I can't see who kicked the ball
Jimmy
in.
Webster.
But
Jimmy Webster is... Stanley gives it off to Tui, who lets it fly from 45 straight through the middle.
well done there by the Cats, but it's just Webster again. Just that kick in for me, Berkey, was just terrible. He just was really relaxed and easy, and just go over too much air.
So the Cats move to 2-3-15. St Kilda 1 straight 6 through 7.5 minutes of the first term. A fast start under the roof.
Yeah, really fast start. It's going zipping from one end to the other really, really quickly. But at the moment, it certainly looks like the Cats are far more dangerous coming off the half back line. The Cats have kicked 3 behinds, and each time there's been a different player grab the ball and kick it in for the Saints. That time it was Jimmy Webster who didn't use his 15 metres. He kicked from the square, which is really unusual these days, and just hung it in air, and Reece Stanley's going to gobble them up all day long.
As a coach, is that a sign that you've got a confidence in a lot of players to do the kick-ins, or not enough confidence in one player to do it, Berkey?
Yeah, possibly.
Ball back in the middle. Stanley slaps it out. Spent a bit of time as a Saint, of course, before moving to Geelong. Steele, handballs to Jones, and now to Hill. Now to Crouch on the outer side. Loops it over the top to Billings. Great to see him back in the action. Kicks inside the forward 50. Sharman at the front of the pack. DeConing at the back. Took it off hands. Handball to Duncan. Measured the kick outside the defensive 50 and found Blitzarves.
He looked in board initially, didn't see something he liked, and now he does. Kicks across the face of goal inside defensive 50 to O'Connor on the last line of defence. Swings it out to the dock side. It's a good kick to Nevitt, but well done Sinclair to spoil it away. Picked up by Battle, who kicks it into the pocket. Rising high as King takes the mark, waltzes into an open goal and curls one home. So St Kilda bring up their second goal. They trail Geelong 2-3-15 to 2 straight 12 through 9 minutes, and an entertaining opening term here at Docklands.
Just that switch of ball again. You've just got to, and we've seen it with St Kilda with Webster kicking in. I think in this back 50 that there's just showing a lack of urgency both teams at the moment in terms of how they want to get this ball across. And look, it was just great by Sinclair to get across, put the pressure on. DeConing there tried to take that spoil out, and I think one card and sin is in defence as a defender is if you're going to go for a spoil, use your body at the same time. He didn't want to get the body contact against King, and King was able to actually then run in and actually kick the goal from almost point-back range, and you just got to make him go back, get in the contest, go back and make him have that shot.
22nd on the year for Max King. Leads the AFL in shots on goal. He's had 22 goals, 20 so far this season. From the restart, Selwood crashes in after the football. Crouch is there, Gresham as well. They bundle it out somehow to Billings, who kicks to half forward. Membry rises, can't mark. Collegeaz knew well, kept it in front of him. Handball back to Stewart inside the defensive 50 for the Cats. Now to O'Connor, long bearing down on him. Got away with it. Back to Stewart, his kick dangerous. Found Parfitt. The Cats look to reload off the back 50. They'll come through the corridor here. O'Connor flares it wide, out toward half forward. The run comes from Smith, who reels in the handball with the right mitt. Gets it on the left boot, sends it short inside the 50 to Hawkins. Not the required distance. He plays on, kicks to the pocket. Stengel made his way to the contest, couldn't take it with him. Myers goes in at ground level, lays a tackle. It was an illegal one according to the umpire. Saints free kick from the last line going to Brad Crouch.
Has Higgins on the broadcast side, sees him eventually and kicks a long ball. Good work there by Nevitt to get in there and effect the spoil, but it might still come up the Saints' way. McKenzie backwards to Webster. Long driving kick down the line through the fingertips of DeConing. King's out the back, couldn't go with it. DeConing picks it up. Gives it back to Duncan. The umpire's found a free kick. Advantage is paid as Duncan goes backwards inside defensive 50 where Stewart takes the mark.
So Stewart for the Cats. Been a terrific pickup Three-time All-Australian, averaging nearly 9 intercepts a game this season. Almost turned it over. Just got it to O'Connor, who marks inside the boundary line near the junction of the 50 and the boundary at right half-back. Joel Peterson, Jess Webster, Chris Johnson, Nathan Burke and Kieran Peterson with you this afternoon on Grandstand AFL. Got that one away without mucking it up, Jess. Long goes inside the forward 50. Big fly from Stewart. Just clatters it away. Straight down the throat of Dangerfield. To Narkle, to Duncan, and here go Geelong.
From the centre square, kick towards half forward is good. Cameron presents, dishes it off to Smith, who waltzes inside 50 and caps off a brilliant transition of play from the Cats. Cats 3-3-21, St Kilda 2 straight 12. 12 minutes gone, opening term. Your experts on Grandstand AFL, Nathan Burke and Chris Johnson.
Well, I think Brett Ratton will be pretty upset with Ben Long with that passage of play. He marked the intercept mark on the wing close to the interchange areas and just booted the ball along and put his player under immense pressure, and then it went from one end to the other.
Karen Peterson's with us on the boundary. Kez.
Geelong are just one down on the bench here. Reece Stanley's gone down into the rooms with the dock and hasn't reappeared yet. I'll keep an eye on it.
Back into the team this week. They were short-handed in the ruck without him last week. Mike Blitzarves, as he so often does, is straight in there to duel with Paddy Ryder.
It's a handy replacement. That slingshot off that half-back line, the Cats have done that pretty well so far today. They're looking dangerous when they win the ball quickly off there.
Enjoying being on the fast track here at Docklands. Dangerfield ran into Ryder in the centre of the ground, got the handball away. Steele was there to trap it for St Kilda. Parfitt sockers it off the ground inside the 50 for the Cats. Cameron up to meet it, can't take it with him. Myers puts his head over it. Tackled by a couple of Saints. Crouch flipped it up, free kick too high. And it'll come back to the former Adelaide best and fairest in his second year at St Kilda, who's got it just inside the defensive 50. Cats by 9 points, 13 gone opening term. Crouch goes short to Hill, playing game number 199. He kicks wide to Sharman, who rises and marks just in front of the wing.
So Sharman wants to kick to Paddy Ryder at centre-half forward. Had a couple of beat, and now the Cats come up with it at centre-half back. Blitzarves, and that's a wobbly old kick looking for Narkle. In comes Webster of the Saints. He can't go with it. Narkle strips it from him. Hand passes off to Cameron, whose hand pass didn't find Myers and allows Crouch to come in. Gives it to Ross, who gives it to Sinclair. Has a bounce on the wing. Kicks St Kilda towards half forward.
Well done.
Well done by De Koning. Wins a one-on-one battle against King. Looking forward to watching that all afternoon.
Yeah, his craft there of able to get body contact straight up and know where the drop zone was going to be and just push King underneath the ball. That was really good to see.
It's been a terrific inclusion, playing that Lockie Henderson role. Cameron had it at half-back for the Cats. Kicks down the line to Myers, who's kicked 5 behinds on the season so far, Brian Myers. Yet to register in the major column. Gets some overlap run from Jeremy Cameron. Handball along the line. Zach Guthrie gave it back to Cameron. They kept it in somehow, the Cats on the City side wing. Now to Parfitt. Loops a kick inside the forward 50. Woods up to meet it for the Saints. Crouch controls it inside the defensive 50. Kick to Jones. Made him work. O'Connor takes it away for Geelong. To Myers and now to Nevitt. Back to Duncan.
Well, Duncan earned himself a free kick for a high in the end. Advantage paid as Nevitt kicks out wide to Close, who's marked at right half forward for the Cats. Kicks one over the top to Myers, who's marked 60 from goal.
I like Zach Jones as a player, but sorry to say, but he needed to go harder at that contest just then.
So Myers kicks a deep entry inside 50 to a pack. Good mark in the end by Wilkie. He's playing some really good footy for St Kilda.
Berkey, he goes harder at that contest. This ball is inside the St Kilda forward 50, not Geelong's forward 50.
Chris Johnson with you on Grandstand AFL. De Koning took front spot against King from the long kick out of the Saints defence. Ross got wrapped up by Atkins. Wasn't getting away from that tackle. Caught on the front point of the square.
Well executed tackle.
Cats in the attacking half. Stewart pulls the kick to a central location. An easy mark taken by McKenzie, who clutches it to his chest for St Kilda. Geelong 3-3, Saints 2 straight, 15 and a half gone in the opening term.
Intercept marked the ball there at pretty much centre-half back. You need to be able to go quickly, but there was no Saints actually sprinting off to get that next kick, and now they're going slow around the boundary.
So Patton from right half back kicks long down the line through the fingertips of De Koning. Higgins can pick it up. He's tackled as he kicked it, and did affect the disposal as it goes out of bounds on the full, although it is a free kick going to Higgins.
A little bit stiff there. I don't think that was a push as he kicked it. It was more a tackle as he kicked it. So a little bit lucky there for Higgins.
So Higgins has it right up against the boundary line, 70 from goal. A kick into the pocket looking for King. Rising over the top with a fist was Kolajadzny. Jones couldn't go with it. Billings handballs out to Membry, who snap around the corner, hits the post. Well, Geelong 3-3-21, St Kilda 2-1-13 through 17 minutes in the opening term as the Cats are quick to bring it back in.
Waste no time, and Tomahawk is a long way from home. Just came in off the bench and got lost in the back pocket. Either that or Chris Scott's really bored already and just moving the magnets around. Zach Guthrie had it, gave it back to Stewart. It's like a surfy band in that defensive unit for Geelong with Stewart and De Koning and Zach Guthrie back there. It's like the 2022 version of the Beach Boys. The Cats come out to the city side. Here's Zach Tui, who doesn't need a lot of space in which to operate. He's got an acre of it. He kicks to the pocket. Cameron goes with one hand, can't pull it in, and gave away a free kick. Saints will take the advantage, and Sinclair darts it to Crouch.
Handballs to Higgins, who gives it off to Gresham, who ran into Selwood. Just got the hands free to Crouch, who kicks out wide and finds Billings, who's marked centre wing, city side of the ground.
They're just getting back with numbers quicker, Geelong, than what St Kilda are at the moment. They're just, I think, once St Kilda get to the middle of the ground, they've got to go, as Berkey said a little bit earlier. They're just not going when they've got the ball in hand.
So the Saints work it on the wing, but Battle's kick inside 50 is turned over and straight into the lap of Mark O'Connor.
It's an absolute sack of a kick. O'Connor picked it off easily, chipped it short to Cam Guthrie. All-Australian a couple of years ago, goes short to Duncan, who's returned to his prolific best this season for Geelong. 3-3 the Cats, 2-1 the Saints. Joel Peterson and Jess Webster with you on Grandstand AFL. Chris Johnson and Nathan Burke, your experts. Duncan directs the kick towards Stengel, who was nudged under it, couldn't pull it in. It goes out and over the boundary line. It will be thrown into play. Earlier today, the Tigers squeaking past the Hawks at the MCG by 23 points and put Adelaide big winners over North Melbourne by 69 down in Tassie.
So from the throw-in, St Kilda win it through Dangerfield. It gives it to Selwood, kicks towards half forward, and good contested mark by Hawkins. 55 out from goal, wants to move it quickly because he has Myers running for him in space, and Mark's just outside the goal square.
You can't teach those type of kicks, Berkey. That just makes Myers run hard. That was fantastic there by Hawkins.
Myers keeps it low, but just had enough on it to get it through the big sticks for Geelong's fourth. 4-3-27. Saints 2-1-13 as we tick in a time on of the opening term.
Running forward, I think the Cats are running forward harder than the Saints defenders. And up the other end, the Geelong defenders are running back and the midfield are running back faster than the Saints forwards pushing forward. So that's a bit of an indictment on all the areas of the ground on the Saints, where I think the Cats deserve to be 2 goals ahead on the scoreboard, because at the moment they're working harder than what the Saints are. Too many times the Saints players are getting the ball to a free play, they'll look up and they have to stop because there's no options. That just means that they haven't got their head in the game, anticipating where the ball's going to go and getting there before it actually gets there.
Well, it's the likes of Billings, Long and Gresham as well. They're getting really defensively and not getting forward quick enough.
Kicks like that don't help.
From the restart, it's tumbled inside the forward 50. Gresham has a go for the Saints. Now to Billings. A couple of the names you mentioned, Jono. Now to Wood, who squares it up to 4 forward. Oh, big pack of bodies collide. O'Connor among it. He and Marshall bounce straight back up to both of their feet. The Cats chisel it toward the boundary line. Cam Guthrie can't keep it in, and it'll be tossed back into play. 55 metres out from the Saints' goal. Left half forward, kicking to the Lockett end here in this opening term. They trail by 14 points.
Umpire spins the ball back into play. Narkle couldn't go with it. And now Blitzarves lays a tackle inside forward 50. Dangerfield over the top, and they've forced a ball up inside the Saints forward 50. 40 from goal.
Sorry, Jess. It looks like Brad Hill going with Isaac Smith and Isaac Smith going with Brad Hill. So they're following each other everywhere at the moment.
So De Koning His kick skews off the side of the boot. It's a free kick to St Kilda, just forward of the wing. Mason Wood will take it.
That'd be a good duel on any long-distance running event you'd see, I reckon, Jono, between those two. Long kick inside the 50. Big fly from Stewart for the Cats. It's deep and desperate inside their defence at the moment here, Geelong. Dangerfield's there to thump it out from the back pocket toward half-back. The 232s in Myers and Wood have a go. Hawkins now again operating across the back 50. Got it away to Cam Guthrie, to Myers. And then a long kick from Atkins up toward Cameron. And he was beaten in the air by Wilkie, who read it best. Kicks short to the top of the defensive 50 to Patton, who now goes back behind the mark for St Kilda.
Jack Steele just had 2 handballs, hasn't had a kick yet.
So Patton to Hill, who chips short and finds Marshall. Marshall kicks out wide, finds Sharman, who can go for a run from right half forward. Spear and kick into the pocket. Ryder on the lead. So Ryder's mark just inside the boundary line. So a tough angle, about 35 from goal.
A lot of Saints really happy Cooper Sharman's in for his first game. Did really well last year in his debut season. They've been waiting for him to come back in. He's a really smart footballer with a good size about him.
So Paddy Ryder's already got 1 goal. Kicked the first of the game. This will have to take his best effort. He lets it go, but it's going to be across the face. Misses everything. Touched before it went over the line, and we've got a boundary thrown right next to the left behind post. Saints into attack.
So he kicked 10 goals in his last 5 games to close last year, Berkey. He looked a really good type coming out of the mid-season draft, Sharman, didn't he?
They tried to make him a ruck at the start of the season and over pre-season. He's just not tall enough for that.
Marshall's in the ruck there for St Kilda, slaps it out, Crouch threw a boot at it, spilt a parfit for the Cats to Narkall, who couldn't collect it cleanly. Crouch could, handball to Steele, another handball for him, socket on by Smith, but it's only to Sinclair, who flares the Saints to half forward and finds Billings, who's been busy upon return. Has it at right half forward, 2 kicks from home, rolls onto the left boot. Sends it to full forward. Right of the target. Sharman's up as well. Long's there to bat it around. It spills to Stewart in the defensive goal square for Geelong. Sweeps the hand pass to Close. Now to Selwood. He's closed down. Loops it over the top to Guthrie inside the defensive 50. Cam Guthrie's tackled strongly. Saints fans want ball. They won't get it. Good pressure from Sharman. Locked up on the numbers of the 50. Saints into attack. They trail by 14.
So Guthrie wins it and passes back to Blitzarves, who was going nowhere, tackled by a couple of Saints. We've got a ball up exactly where we started. Umpire quick to throw it up. Falls the way of Cam Guthrie again. Just gets boot to ball. How will the umpire see this? Deliberate.
So Zach Jones to take the kick for St Kilda for left half forward. As we welcome our listeners joining us from North Melbourne and Port Adelaide. The Power with a big win late in the first term here at Docklands. The Saints inside the 50 through Jones. Almost a mark to Marshall. They trail by 14 points. Geelong 4-3 to St Kilda 2-1. The Saints got the first of the game. The Cats have kicked 4 of the next 5 to lead by 14 points at the 24-minute mark. Goals to Myers, Hawkins, Smith and Tui for Geelong. St Kilda through King and Ryder. Joel Peterson and Jess Webster with you. Nathan Burke and Chris Johnson, your experts. Karen Peterson on the boundary for us this afternoon. The Cats again move it outside the defensive 50. Kick down the line. Dangerfield tumbles over. It was touched on the way through. And it'll be tossed back into play. Jono and Berkey, it's been a pretty fast start here.
It certainly has. I think with the last couple of forward entries by St Kilda, Berkey, they've had good representation in the air, but nothing at ground level. No one really hitting that, that 10-2 front and square hard enough as a small or medium forwards.
So Blitzarves takes it out of the ruck and the Cats share it by hand. Selwood now with the long kick down the line. Dangerfield in a one-on-one against Battle. Brings it to ground. Coming through Smith. He couldn't go with it. Now Parfitt has a go. Collects. Gives it to Zach Guthrie, who weaves through traffic and sends it towards Cameron over his head. And Saints should win out through Howard, who has to get around close. It's a rushed kick. Wood collects on the half volley. Handballs inboard to Battle, who goes out wide. To Billings, who kicks down the line, and Membry marks in front of the interchange gates.
So Membry has it right on halfway. Rolls inboard, right foot kick, looking for King. Up high was Stewart. Spikes it over the boundary line.
Talked about that representation of small forwards. I looked in the middle of the corridor, Berkey, and all the small forwards wanted to bring inside. They didn't realise it was going to go long down the line. It's good spoil over the boundary line, but they didn't realise that it was going to go long to King down the line. If it had went to ground level, they weren't there.
Brisbane Premiership defender Chris Johnson with you on Grandstand AFL. Socket inside the forward 50 for the Saints by Marshall. Long got pushed through the pack. Sharman a handball away to Membry. Had a fumble at the critical moment. Handball ricocheted straight back to him. Sinclair a standing start from the top of the 50. Kicks to full forward. King in the area. Picks it up. Squeezes it through the traffic. They rush back to the behind line. And Stewart sees over for the Cats. Minor score takes the margin to 13 points the way of Geelong. Let's get downstairs to Karen Peterson.
Good news for Cats fans. Reece Stanley's just re-emerged from the rooms. It was one of the first rotations in the quarter, and it's taken till the 27-minute mark for him to come back out.
Back into the side this week, Reece Stanley from an ankle injury. Might not be 100% as Geelong work it to the wing to a pack. Selwood emerges with it, gives it to Close, who handballs to Smith, who gives it off to Cam Guthrie. Kick inside 50. Cameron couldn't go with it. Good fist away by Battle. Tui now goes off the deck in a one-on-one against Mackenzie. They both overrun it, and then the ball spills over the boundary line. Throw in 40 metres around from the Cats' goal at left half forward.
It was notable in the Stanley process that Cooper Stevens never even came off the back of the bench. So whatever it was, the Cats weren't too concerned about it. It just took a while. Ball to be thrown back into play. Blitzard still rucking for Geelong. Took it out of the ruck there. Square dropped it. And then Cameron pounced on it. He's tackled by Crouch. And we'll have another ball up 35 metres out from the Geelong goal. The Coventry end, the northern end of the stadium here at Docklands. Richmond and Port Adelaide winners earlier today. Cats in charge by 13 points, late stages opening term. Battle jams it on the boot outside the defensive 50 for the Saints. Ball skittles the pack. Kolajasny rushes in. Membry flicks the handball straight up in the air. Huge tackle. Atkins thrown into the turf by Long. That was good, tough stuff. Narkle has it on the edge of the 50 for Geelong. Now Close. Handball around the corner. Missed Cameron. Ross is there. He's been quiet early. Marshall inside defensive 50 for the Saints. Chips short to Patton, but they're still trying desperately to work it out of defence, St Kilda.
Yeah, apart from Crouch, the Saints midfielders are getting well and truly beaten. He's up to 10 possessions.
Saints trail by 13 as Patton forced to kick out wide over the head of Membry, out of bounds on the full. Free kick going the way of Geelong to Parfitt, who's got it just forward of the wing. Swings around quickly, darts one towards half forward, but turned it over and still takes the intercepting mark at right half back.
So the All-Australian, the captain, over to Gresham. What a difference he makes back into this team, Berkey.
He does. He just adds that little bit of X factor.
Leading goal kicker a couple of years ago, struggled to get on the park with back and Achilles injuries. He's played every game so far in this young season, has Jade Gresham. Kick down the line was slapped over the boundary line. It'll be tossed back into play.
I think St Kilda for the next little bit have just got to hold on to the ball for a little bit and just starve Geelong of it. Geelong are just so good users with the ball. They've just got to hang on to it and not cough it up so much.
So thrown on the wing, goes past the two ruckmen. As Mackenzie goes out of midair, it spills to Sinclair. His handball goes to no one in particular, and then he runs and picks it up again. This time handball into the path of Wood, who wheels around, and it's a nice kick and finds... I think that's Billings at centre half forward as the siren sounds. As Docklands and the umpire has said, the siren sounded before he completed the mark. It was Higgins, in fact. So quarter time here at Docklands. It's an entertaining opening quarter of footy. Geelong 4-3-27 leads St Kilda 2-2-14. Your goal kickers all singles. Tui, Smith, Hawkins and Myers for Geelong, and to King and Ryder for St Kilda.
So the Saints kicked the first of that opening term through Paddy Ryder. Geelong kicked back-to-back goals. The Saints split them, and then Geelong with two to end the term as well. And it is a 13-point lead to the Cats at the end of 1. A temporary spot in the top four on the line this afternoon for the winner. It's Geelong by 3 scores at the opening break on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital. This is Grandstand AFL.
I can feel the excitement building all week in between work, family, all the other things that keep me busy. It's always in the back of my mind. And before you know it, The ABC has the footy on the radio again.
Doherty on his comeback from cancer. They come from everywhere.
Buddy Franklin, a legend, joins the Immortals.
Light up your week with the best call in the game.
Grandstand AFL.
AFL.
On ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital. The 2022 AFL Premiership season. Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
So umpires found a free kick going the way of St Kilda to Ryder, was just held out of that ruck contest, and he's going to line up for a shot on goal. Only 20 metres out, 5 metres in from the boundary, a tough angle. Paddy Ryder setting himself up to go around the corner from the pocket. Oh, that's a beautiful way to start the afternoon for Saints fans. Ryder gets St Kilda on the board.
Selwood kicks inside the 50, spills out the back. Hawkins collects and only needs a moment's notice. Tom Hawkins straight into the action. The Cats with the instant response, they've got the lead.
Webster from the kick-in is turned it over. It's intercepted by Stanley, who can line up for a shot on goal 40 metres out. Stanley gives it off to Tui, who lets it fly from 45 straight through the middle. Well done Sinclair to spoil it away. Picked up by Battle, who kicks it into the pocket, rising high as King takes the mark, waltzes into an open goal and curls one home. From the centre square, kick towards half forward is good. Cameron presents, dishes it off to Smith, who waltzes inside 50 and caps off a brilliant transition of play from the Cats. Good contested mark by Hawkins, 55 out from goal, wants to move it quickly because he has Myers running for him in space and Mark just outside the goal square. Myers keeps it low but just had enough on it to get it through the big sticks for Geelong's fourth.
This is the 2022 AFL Premiership season.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
The end of one at Docklands. Saturday twilight football. Great to have your company on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital. It is Geelong by 13 points. Couple of sides inside the top 8, locking horns. Geelong came into the round 5th. The Saints 7th after Richmond's win today. The Saints slipped down to 8, but both can move into the top 8 with a win this afternoon. The Cats 4-3, the Saints 2-2 at the end of one. Earlier today, Richmond defeated Hawthorn in a game of wild momentum swings where goals in runs were traded throughout. The Hawks came back late, but the Tigers held on to win 17-15, 115 to 14-10, 94. That's where most of our audience has been. And for the rest of us who joined us midway through that opening term, heard Port Adelaide big winners over North Melbourne, 17-13, 115 to North, 6-10, 46 in Tassie. A couple of games to come tonight. The Swans and the Bombers for most of our audience. And for South Australia, you're headed to the Adelaide Oval, where the Crows take on the Lions. Joel Peterson and Jess Webster with you, calling the action. Karen Peterson is with us on the boundary. Our experts are Brisbane Lions Premiership player Chris Johnson and St Kilda champion Nathan Burke. It was a fast start in that opening term, but Geelong had the better of the opportunities for the most part, Burkey.
Certainly did. They deserve to be in front. They've played the better football. They've worked harder than what St Kilda have. My worry with St Kilda all the time is when they forget that they are a blue-collar team and they pressure the opposition. That is their starting point. That it has to be how they play the game. They're not good enough to play any other way at the moment, and today they're trying to play that. Cats are going at 79% disposal efficiency, which is pretty high, nearly 80%. That means that the Saints aren't putting pressure on them. Of the top 15 possession winners on the field, only 3 of them are St Kilda players. Too many Cats are getting the footy, and once you give Geelong the opportunity to go, you know what, here's some free ball, you can run and link up and get the ball inside 50, they're going to cut you up. So good luck St Kilda defence trying to stop that ball coming in the way that it is. So if I'm Brett Ratton, all I'm saying to the guys is, guys, get back to that blue-collar effort, because the way we're playing at the moment, the Cats are too good a team to... They'll chop us up. We keep playing this way, Jono.
Yeah, look, it's spot on there, Berkey. I think I've said it a couple of times in regards to St Kilda, is that when they go forward, they've got representation in the air, but at ground level, they just haven't got it at the moment. Well, Geelong are just leading all the stats. I guess what my eyes are telling me at the moment, when you see the ball move up and down between the arcs and inside the arcs from time to time, Geelong just look quicker. They look speed. They look like they've got urgency about them. They look like they want to take this game on, where on the other hand, when St Kilda win the ball, they're just really slow and want to have a slow build-up, and they just haven't got the energy to get up there. And I think for mine at the moment, it's all about the speed and the smarts of Geelong at the minute. They're sucking 2 and 3 St Kilda's players in them, and then they just move the ball around by hand far too easy. They've got to close those exits and those options outside when a Geelong player has the ball.
Chris Johnson and Nathan Burke, your experts on Grandstand AFL. The bounce in the middle through John Howarth, officiating his 51st game this afternoon. And the Saints go inside the forward 50 straight away toward Gresham. Lays the tackle on Guthrie. It was a clumsy moment between he and Duncan. The footy's locked up at centre-half forward for the Saints. Perhaps an instant opportunity to start this second term. Stanley's back out there after the injury concern in the opening term. Wins it down, taken by Membry. Kicks to full forward for the Saints. Over the head of Marshall and Kolachasny. And it's through for a rush behind to start the second term. That takes the margin to an even 2 kicks the way of the Cats.
So Duncan brings the ball in. Kicks short and finds Smith, who flares it out wide to Coney. It's marked just inside the field of play at left half back for the Cats. They lead it by 2 goals. DeConing kicks long down the wing. Cameron and Hawkins is there, but Sinclair comes up with a footy. Good contested mark in the end, who marks just in front of the interchange gates.
Good work by Sinclair there. He knew that it was falling short, so he took the opportunity to take a contested mark.
He's a terrific player. Really grew in stature last year, second in the best and fairest, and he's improved on that this season. Long's over the top of it here, not making an effort. Umpire was going to ping him every day of the week there. Could see that coming a mile away.
You should know by now, you've got to at least fake an effort. You can't just sit on it.
All fours on top of the football. It was never going to work. Poor kick from Zach Guthrie. Straight to Steele. He dropped it in the tackle from Dangerfield. Oh, it's really not going the Saints' way at the moment. Dangerfield's got the footy. Swings it across the centre square. It's an odd decision in the end. He was looking for blitz arms. McKenzie got there to knock it down. Parfitt's tackled. Saints fans, they want a free kick this time. Umpire says no. Ball up in the centre square.
There's not much difference between the 3 of them, and 2 were free kicks and 1 wasn't.
And Blitzarves palms it down to Parfitt. Quick kick inside 50. He's picked up by Stengel, who has a flying shot at goal. Misses to the right-hand side for a minor. Geelong 4-4-28. St Kilda 2-3-15 through 2 minutes of the second term.
Just going back to that contest, Daniel McKenzie did not want that ball, Berkey. That was his ball to be won there. He needed to launch himself that ball. I know Blitzars was coming back with the flight, but you've got to make a statement at some stage and attack the football in the air. It's the only time you can make a statement in terms of actually putting body on body and actually let the opposition know you're here to play football.
Yeah, it's happening a little bit too much for the Saints. Those two actions you highlighted are pretty much synonymous with the way they're playing.
McKenzie kicked long after the Saints chipped it around the back 50 through the hands of Marshall, who was the tall target. The Cats work it inboard. Smith to Zach Guthrie through the centre circles, kicks inside the 50, drops it into the bucket for Cameron, who again led laterally across the arc, and he marks 45 metres out, slight angle left of centre.
Poor setup behind the ball by the Saints. If you've got Cameron leading backwards 45 degrees inside 50 and you've got 3 players behind him, one of them has to come forward and cut off that back lead.
So Jeremy Cameron, for his 25th of this young season, hit the post in the opening term with a set shot and misses that one left as well. Margin 14 points, 3.5 gone, second quarter.
The concern for me, Berkey, there's off half-back. They were able to get 3 uncontested possessions and find a player uncontested mark inside forward 50.
Yeah, the Saints are just absolving responsibility for defence to the players around them.
And it's good that Geelong, by the way, we're not saying that. Geelong are moving the ball pretty well, so they're up against a pretty quality opposition at the same time.
So the Saints work it to the wing to Steele, who chips short to Jones, who's marked at the interchange gates. Slow movement by the Saints. Jones kicks inboard to Sinclair, who gives it back to Jones, who's got around Selwood and then dropped the footy and then tackled by Guthrie. Umpire still says play on. Zach Guthrie with the tackle. Cam Guthrie comes in and picks up the footy, tackled by Billings. Ball up just forward of the wing.
So trying to generate the overlap run, the Saints, and even when they do that, It doesn't come off. Blitzarves stands his ground against Ryder. Jones burrows through the pack. Tackled by Blitzarves and by Nevitt, the second gamer for Geelong out of Grovedale. Came on last week as the sub in the first corner when Jed Buse suffered a concussion. Selwood takes it from the stoppage, but straight to Sinclair. He puts the Saints back toward half forward, straight to Parfitt, who slides in, chopped it off in front of Ryder, and marks in line with the back edge of the centre square at left half back for the Cats.
So Parfitt, dangerous kick to the wing. Selwood, looking for Selwood, fisted away by Webster. Jones picks up the footy. Hand passes to Patton, who kicks St Kilda inside 50. And coming down with it is Marshall. Stood tall in the contest and reeled in a grab, and he'll have a shot on goal 30 metres out directly in front.
You've got King, Marshall and Cooper Sharman down there. Probably combined height of about sort of 20 foot.
They could touch the roof here, Berkey.
Somebody should have been able to mark that at least. And luckily it was Rowan Marshall, who's probably the best set shot of the three. Now watch him miss this.
So St Kilda really need this to give his side a lift, and Marshall makes no mistake. Geelong 4-5-29, St Kilda 3-3-21, 6 minutes played, second term.
Well, it was a good little build-up here, right in front of us. You know, they competed and they competed. I think at the moment what they're doing, they're eliminating Paddy Ryder's run at the ball, so he's not able to get first use and give his midfielders first use. So they're doing that quite well, Geelong. But great work there by Jones. They're just the simple things well they done there. They were clean. They used the spare play. They had run and overlap from behind, and they got the ball in long or longish to their tall timber, which was really, really good. And they took the effort and they had the representation. We know they got the representation in the air, and they got their hands to it and they took the mark, went back. Great finish.
Chris Johnson alongside Nathan Burke this evening on Grandstand AFL. 0437 774 774. If you want to join us, let us know your name and where you're listening from. From the restart, Gresham to Steele to Sinclair. Three of the Saints' prime movers. Inside the 50, over the head of Marshall. Kolajasny's there for the Cats. Handball to De Koning to Stewart, who toes the boundary line and then is pushed across. Didn't really want much of a part of keeping it in.
Berkey, quick question.
Yep.
Is there any incentive to take front spot in the forward line at the moment?
Not when the ball gets kicked over your head.
And you get pushed in the back. There's nothing to protect the key forwards at the moment.
Ball tossed back in. Full forward for the Saints. Stanley goes through. O'Connor tackled. Wanted the boundary line. Handballed it in that direction. Umpire says chuck it in. Still inside forward 50 for St Kilda.
My point there is I just see so many forwards getting pushed under the ball by the defender right in the back, and it's just been called play on.
Geelong by 8, ball in inside St Kilda's forward 50. So Marshall and Stanley contest it. Marshall palms it down straight to O'Connor of Geelong, who runs into trouble, tackled by Gresham holding the ball.
Well done, Jade. That was fantastic. Just kept consistent. Just went after the body, real aggressive type stuff that we've been talking about, Berkey, and it's led by Jade Gresham there inside the forward 50. Make them pay for it now. Got to hurt them on the scoreboard.
So Gresham has it 35 from goal, 10 metres in from the boundary. He's kicked 9 goals from his 8 games this year. Jade Gresham goes with the banana on the outside of the boot. And had a little bit too much curl on it. Through for a minor score. Geelong 4-5-29. St Kilda 3-4-22.
What's wrong with the drop punt there?
That is a bold move going the checky from 40 out. Gee whiz.
I said he's got X factor. Sometimes that can not always pay off. The good and the bad with those sort of players.
Not in the way that you want.
No.
Selwood hears a little bit from the Saints fans. Goes to Kolajasny at half-back. Now to Tui on the city side wing for Geelong. They methodically move the ball forward by foot once more. Stengel's got it 2 kicks from home to Myers. And guess who's running across to desperately smother it away, but the skipper in Jack Steele, who maybe hasn't been involved with ball in hand as much as he'd like so far, but finding a way to do it defensively.
Far better. Most players will concede that and they'll just say, yeah, you can have a short pass, but Jack Steele said no. He looks a little bit angry now. 7
disposals for Jack Steele so far as the Saints win it. Kick inside 50 is out of bounds. Umpire says throw it in. Cats fans want it deliberate. I'm not sure about that one. So ball in. 40 metres out from goal. Geelong lead it by 7. Only one goal kicked in this second term the way of Marshall of St Kilda. And the umpires found a free kick going St Kilda's way in the ruck contest. And Marshall comes up with it again.
So Marshall across the back 50. Battle chips it short. And get it back here as he cruises past Jimmy Webster. Blast it to the wing, straight to Jake Kolajasny. Probably know which of the two out of Webster and Battle I would have liked the football in the hands of if I was a Saints fan. It wasn't the one that kicked it in the end. Tui's got it at the back point of the square for Geelong. 4-5 the Cats, 3-4 the Saints. Good thing for St Kilda here in this second term is they have held the Cats at bay. Tui kicks to half forward, straight to Wilkie, who takes a mark at right half back for St Kilda, and again is bereft of options as he spins the ball in his hands.
Yeah, they're all stationary at the moment, the Saints. They're not actually moving through. They're getting to the right positions, but then they're just staying there and clogging up that space. They've got to get in there and get out of there.
So chips to Sinclair, who flares it out wide to Wood on the outer side. He's kicked down the line looking for Marshall through his fingers. At the back, Stengel for the Cats, gives it to O'Connor, who gives it back to Stengel from centre wing. Chip short, that's not 15. The umpire says it is, and it's a mark to Hawkins. So Hawkins has it. Centre wing position city side, and chip short to find Cam Guthrie. Gives it back to Hawkins, who loads up and sends a kick deep into the pocket. Stanley once, not twice. Fisted over the line for a boundary throw in 20 metres around from the Cats' goal. They lead it by 7 through 11 minutes second term.
Rowan Marshall was a little bit lucky there that Reece Stanley bobbled that ball and enabled him to get across and spoil it. But Reece is pretty good going forward. Don't want to give him too many chances.
Hawkins in ruck. We know he's so dangerous in this situation. Knocks it down to Cameron. Spills to Selwood. Throws it on the boot. The skipper from the forward pocket tugs it across the face to the left. Minus score. Cats with another behind, their third of the term so far. Margin 8 points, Geelong 4-6, the Saints 3-4, 12 minutes gone, second quarter.
So scoring's just dried up a little bit here as Sinclair goes for a bit of a run and then kicks along to the outer side wing. Over the head of Membry. O'Connor picks it up, gives it to Smith, goes back to O'Connor and chips short to Duncan, who's marked just on the edge of the centre circles. Lovely delivery to Cam Guthrie at half forward, who can wheel around and sees an open goal square. Hawkins Shepherd's on the line. Goal to Geelong. They move to 5-6-36. St Kilda 3-4-22. 12 minutes played second term. Your experts on Grandstand AFL, Nathan Burke and Chris Johnson.
John, it was just far too easy counterpunch there by the Cats. It was a long kick out from fullback by Sinclair all the way to the wing. Remember, he was in the front position. That was one of those don't take front position because you get shoved in the back type scenarios. And to the Cats' credit, they didn't go straight back to where the numbers were. Brought the ball over to the skinny or the fat side of the ground. And originally I thought Guthrie wasn't having a shot for goal because he seemed to just poke it, but they kept going and going and going, and good shepherd by Hawkins. So the Saints have had the better of this quarter, but that was a really good counterpunch there by the Cats.
Well, they just shifted. They just shifted their attack from not going, as you said, Berkey, from where the numbers were and just went to the open side, or the fat side, as they call it.
From the restart, Geelong might have another opportunity here. Dangerfield, handball to Selwood, handball to Duncan, handball to Blitzarves through the front point of the centre square. Kicks to full forward. It might bounce all the way home. Mark Blitzarves from long range. The umpires will go upstairs and see whether it was touched right on the line. Umpire's soft call is a goal. Because has Cameron got a boot on that as he was running back to the goal line?
It was a Saints player boot and a Cats player both threw their foot at it.
Battle and Cameron in the duel of the swinging boots right on the goal line.
It looks like Battle.
I reckon Battle's got this.
Yeah, I reckon Battle's got it by toe.
And the photo finish in race 3 at Docklands. Battle rushing back toward goal.
Looking at this angle, we can see the ball has made contact with the St Kilda defenders.
There you go. Only a behind, and the Saints fans go up like they kicked one. Josh Battle with one of the better own goals you'll see. That's a 15-point lead to Geelong. 5-7 to 3-4. And we are 14 minutes into this second term. 0437 774 774. Marilyn from Mullaloo is listening. She says, "Can't the Saints get a wriggle on?"
It was no Mal Michael own goal, was it?
Yeah,
But it was,
exactly. I was there that night, yeah. I was working that night, actually. I was injured. I wasn't playing, but I was working that night. That was interesting.
So Saints bringing in through Webster. Kicks short to Howard. A long kick down the line. King presents and marks strongly. Chips in board, not 15 to Ross, who's tackled immediately by Smith and then just lets go of the ball, holding the ball.
I've seen Shorter being paid.
Yeah, I've seen Shorter. That was very
unlucky there for the Saints. They were out too. They had Membry all alone on the half-forward flank.
So a costly turnover for St Kilda as Isaac Smith elects to swing it across the ground to O'Connor at right half forward, who pokes a pass into the pocket. Wood had front position, slipped through his fingers, and then Stanley goes over the line with footy in hand. Throw in 40 metres around from the Cats' goal. They lead by 15 points. Let's get downstairs to Karen Peterson.
Doesn't look great news for St Kilda, with Jack Higgins going down into the rooms with the doc. Marcus Windhager, the sub, has been just keeping an eye on him. He looks like he's getting warmed up, ready to go.
Thanks, Kez. Ball tossed back in. Both rucks missed it. Wilkie lays the tackle on Hawkins. Saints fans want the free kick just inside the forward 50 for Geelong. Crouch. Kick from Wood was chased down by Cameron, who then laid a pretty vicious tackle over the boundary line. Umpire said it was okay. Thrown back into play.
It's good to see the crowd getting into this now, because the Saints need a lift. They've got another couple of gears in them, and if they don't lift, well, then the Cats will run away with this.
It's Saints home game. It's not a bad crowd in here either, Berkey. Quite a few in the top tier. Howard swings it outside the defensive 50. O'Connor takes the mark, but a St Kilda free kick. They'll like that, the home fans. Jack Billings has got it at left half back.
Still no movement by the Saints. They're all just trotting around getting the short one and hoping Max King will take a big long one down the line.
So that's what Billings does. He does kick down the line and standing in front to Coing, wins that one-on-one battle against King, who hand passes to Tui and then gives it to O'Connor, who goes for a run on centre wing. Handballs out wide to Zach Guthrie, who gives it to Dangerfield, who just walked over the line. Boundary throw in between wing and half forward on the City side of the ground.
Well, what Geelong are doing here, they're just playing chaos football and just making it up as it goes along, and everyone's coming with him. They've got speed, they're running in links, they're running in change. They're just trying to link handballs up at the moment, and St Kilda defence don't know what to do.
Stanley slaps it out of ruck, taken by Jones for the Saints, who blasts it forward. Standing under the ball calmly is Blitzarves. A little bit more movement on the Saints bench down there, Karen.
Yeah, the sub has been made, so Marcus Windhager spent a little bit of time talking to the coaches on the phone. He's taken the warm-up top off and he's ready to go.
A couple of days before his 19th birthday, he gets an early present by an injection into the game in the second term. Smith through the centre corridor, kicks up toward half-forward, marked by Narkle, spears it inside the 50. Selwood couldn't take it in with the arms outstretched, laid the tackle on Crouch, forced the ball loose. Crouch raised the arms. Got it away to Ross inside the defensive 50, out toward Battle. He's closed down by Close, and then Patton got dragged down in the tackle by Atkins. Umpire looks and says ball up between the wing and half-back for the Saints.
This is an easy fix for St Kilda. All they need to do is, when they haven't got the ball, is just go and be accountable to somebody.
So Ryder with the big fist down to Steele, who's hacked kick around the corner down the line. Is dropped in the end by King. Coming through long, he can't go with it. Ball milling around. Steele now has a go. Spills to McKenzie. Now Steele close against the boundary line and is dumped over the line by Colin Jasny. And Steele looks like he's a little bit hurt. And we've got a throw in right in front of us here on the broadcast side.
A bit of a shoulder there for Steele on the way off. We'll get Kieran to keep an eye on that one.
Take a little bit to keep Jack Steele down as well. He does look a little bit sore.
AC joint. Fix him up. Yeah, we're all right. Get him back out there.
Ball thrown back in. Dr. Chris Johnson with you on Grandstand AFL.
There's plenty of AC joints. A bit of medicine and you're right.
So Ross has got it from the front of the AFL logo on the broadcast side. Left foot kick into the pocket. Membry among the pack to Koning. Got hands to it again. Gresham through the traffic. Kick smothered by Narkle. And then diving through was Zach Guthrie. He couldn't come away with it cleanly. And we'll have a ball up deep forward for St Kilda. They trail by 15 points toward time on here in this second term.
So Blitzarves and Ryder in the ruck. It spills to Gresham. Tries the impossible from the pocket to the goal square. Marked by King on the line and he pops one through. That's King's second of the afternoon. And cuts the margin back to 9. Geelong 5-7-37. St Kilda 4-4-28. 20 minutes played second term.
Well done by Gresham there. Before the ball up, he was there front and square, tried to work it out and tried to get a little dinky kick over the top. Didn't work out. Laid the tackle. Got back up and got himself back involved in that stoppage, and it was pushed up hard against the boundary. Quite easy for him to blaze away. He probably was having a shot and probably wasn't having a shot, but he just got it back into a dangerous spot where Geelong defenders needed to watch the ball and watch their opponent at the same time and defend hard. And lucky enough, King was able to identify that drop zone and where it was coming, and just basically moved a few different players out the way and just took a mark. Uncontested mark, you would have called that, Jess. Not a contested mark, but an uncontested mark, because none of the Geelong players knew where it was going.
And they were a bit confused on the last line of defence.
So from the restart, the Cats come immediately forward. Narkle handed off to Parfitt, who squeezed his kick out wide for Tui. Tracked it down, handball off to Cam Guthrie. Kicks inside the 50, reaching over the top there was Webster. Knocked it away from Myers. Good tackle from Battle. Ball spills over the boundary line. Let's get downstairs to Kez once more.
So unfortunately for Saints fans, Jack Higgins has gone out with a concussion, as we mentioned before. Marcus comes in, Marcus Windhager that is, and Isaac Smith also receiving some attention for a hip groin injury, as well as Jack still going down with that AC injury to the room, so I'll keep you posted.
Keeping you busy down there on your debut on the boundary, Kez. Here's Parfitt for the Cats, swings it inside the 50. Stengel takes the mark. A little bit of a fracas out at half forward a few moments ago. It energised the crowd somewhat. Stengel's got it here. He is 40 metres out. We'll get back to the Higgins concussion as well, because that is a concerning bit of news for Saints fans, given his history, both with concussion and more broadly medically with a couple of brain surgeries. Here is Tyson Stengel, the former Tiger and Crow, 2 behinds already today. He's made an impact this year at Geelong from 45 metres out. He continues to do so with set shots like that. Another for the Cats, who again push the lead out to 15 points. 6-7-43 Geelong. St Kilda 4-4-28. 22 minutes gone second term. Berkey, it'd have to be pretty concerning for a Saints fan to hear that Jack Higgins has gone down with concussion. You can only hope the absolute best for him.
Absolutely, and I'm trying to think of an incident where he may have been hit, and it's really tough to find one. He did get a heavy shepherd, which didn't look like any head contact, but whether that was just enough to rattle him completely, sometimes even a hit to the body can rattle the head. So let's hope it's nothing too serious and just a precautionary, let's just keep him off.
So unfortunately, Jack Higgins out with concussion for St Kilda as we're back in the middle. Cam Guthrie just hacks it off the ground and falls into the lap of Nevitt, who's marked on centre wing.
Centre bounce is being dominated by the Cats.
So Geelong by 15 as Nevitt sends them back inside 50 again. In front position was Howard, couldn't complete the mark. Patton just with a wild handball out of traffic. Nevitt comes in for the Cats, gives it to Parfitt, to Hawkins, and Blitzarves, who's pushed over by Long and didn't get connection with the ball as Gresham gives it to Patton, who kicks down the line. Stewart in front. And chop of the arms, free kick.
Yeah.
Terrible decision umpire.
Ben Long needs to be very, very careful. Quite easily could have been on report. Came in, I reckon, first instinct was the bump, never to tackle, and nearly hurt him big time.
Plays on the edge a bit, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Long. Here's Atkins after Dangerfield only just reeled the footy in, kick to half forward, cut off by Mason Wood, who slides in and takes a bit of a divot with him out there, so we'll need the sand bucket to patch that up. He laces it out wide to Membry, to Billings. The Saints with a bit of overlap run. Billings spilt the mark as he stretched above his head. Couldn't pull it in. Kolajasny's there at halfback for the Cats. So too Atkins. who shoots it short to Duncan on the numbers of the defensive 50. Geelong 6-7, the Saints 4-4, 15 points the margin. It was 13 at quarter time. It's hovered between 8 and 15, which it is at the moment. Here's Isaac Smith for Geelong kicking to half forward.
It's just a high kick in hope towards half forward. Hill's there for Saints, gives it to Webster, who dishes it off to Sinclair. Chips short and finds McKenzie at left half back. He flares it out wide to Wood. Kicks down the line, looking for Membry, and Atkins comes in with the spoil and ball goes out of bounds.
They're trying to pinpoint their way through, the Saints, and they're not good enough by foot to actually do that. They need to create 2 or 3 more options.
So Marshall takes front spot against Blitzarves. Jumping through the pack there was Wood, city side wing. Windhager into the game, lays the tackle. And we'll have a ball up in line with the front edge of the centre square out at left half forward for St Kilda. Saints with 2 goals here in this term, so too the Cats. Geelong by 14 points. Kick inside forward 50 for the Saints. Free kick in the marking contest though. It'll go the way of Sam de Koning. In fact, it might be taken by Stewart as de Koning gets up.
That's a stupid rule too.
So Stewart, he chips it short. I don't reckon there's many good ones in your eyes, Berkey.
None that Stephen Hawking did anyway.
As Stewart kicks out toward Mitch Nevitt, he can't pull it in and will have a ball in. Between the wing and right half forward, Saints in their attacking half of the ground. 6-7 plays 4-4. The Cats in control. 26 minutes gone. Second term on Grandstand AFL.
For 140 years, players could still mark the ball with their arms getting chopped or touched. Can still do it these days.
Oh, so from the throw-in, good attack on the footy by Billings. It spills the way of Jones. It's Windhager, in fact, who collects the footy back. His handball misses the target in McKenzie, but Windhager comes up with it again. It's a hacked kick inside 50. Big pack forms. The ball spills to ground. Long crashes in hard. Can't go with it. de Koning picks it up. His hand pass intercepted by McKenzie, who's tackled by Atkins. Ball spills loose. Umpire lets it go. Zach Guthrie whacks it on the boot. Kicks outside defensive 50. Picked up by Marshall, who kicks short to Gresham, who's got it at right half forward for the Saints.
So Gresham coming up for disposal. Number 13 puts the step on Guthrie. Gets to the 50, then kicked it straight into Mark Blitzarves. He was swung in the tackle by McKenzie, lost the footy, holding the ball.
Great tackle, super tackle.
Whipped him around in a 360. And Dan McKenzie wins the free on the numbers of the 50. The lefty loads up, sends it to full forward. Membry in the pack, Stewart at the front of it all for Geelong. Stengel doing the roving in defence for the Cats. Handballs off to Duncan. Duncan over the top to Myers. Bounce was cruel, allowed Hill to come in. But the Cats maintain control through Tui and now back to Stewart near the junction of the 50 in the boundary at right half back.
Well, the long kick into the Saints forward line, there was 3 Cats there front centre and not 1 Saints player.
So Stewart kicks down the line. Selwood has to compete against 2 and it wins a free kick.
Yeah, Sinclair just shepherded Selwood off the ball there. So he just needed to probably almost pretend that he was going for the mark rather than just trying to check him.
Selwood chips in board to Cameron, who delivers to Cam Guthrie at half forward. Wheels around and kicks it to this dock side of the ground to Zach Guthrie, who looks inside forward. 50 is pass looking for Nevitt. Just had too much on it in the end. Touched over the line, but it's a free kick to Geelong.
No.
Oh, umpire, goodness me. Who'd be the defender these days, Jono?
Yeah, I wouldn't like to be because there's nothing in that at all. But I think the reason why the ball's there is that St Kilda are giving too much time and space to Geelong. They're an elite outfit. They know how to use the ball. If you give them time and space and actually sag off and zone off, they're going to hit every target.
So Mitch Nevitt, for his first goal in AFL footy, he certainly gave it everything, but his right foot snapped from the boundary across the face of goal for a minor score. Geelong 6-8-44, St Kilda for 4-28.
Footy gods looking down.
A lot of it's the Saints midfielders just aren't pushing back hard enough.
So game high lead now. Hatton brought it in, but Tui cut it off. Short to Atkins.
because Geelong aren't playing sensational football, Berkey. They're just doing all the fundamentals right at the moment, hitting targets they're supposed to hit, absorbing pressure when they're supposed to absorb pressure.
Zach Guthrie can hit the target on that occasion. Duncan dropped the mark under the pressure from Billings. Maybe a chance for the Saints to go end to end. Jones from centre half back, handball to no one. He turned the wrong way. Crouch has made it look good in the end. Jones has rushed back there between the wing and half-back. Handball toward the boundary line to battle. It is a real battle for the Saints right now. Mark from Kolajasny. Gresham did his best to rush over and knock it out of his hands, but he was really set up to fail.
The player psych, Ben Robbins for St Kilda, needs to get to Zach Jones and tell him that he just needs to play it simple, not trying to dance everybody, because he's putting all his forwards out of position and he's running defenders out of position behind him as well.
So the Cats maintain control. A golden opportunity goes begging for the Saints. And that's the state of the game to half-time. A little bit aggrieved, the home fans. They trail by 16 points at the main break. Geelong with 2 goals 5 in that term. The Saints adding 2-2 to their quarter-time score. And at the main break, it's the Cats 6-8-44 to Geelong 4-4-28. The margin is 16 points, which is as big as it's been throughout the course of the game so far. The goal kickers for Geelong, all singles for the Cats so far. Goals to Smith, to Cam Guthrie, to Zach Toohey, to Tyson Stengel, to Tom Hawkins and Brian Myers with his first of the season. While for the Saints, Max King has 2. Paddy Ryder kicked the first of the game, and Rowan Marshall kicked one in that second term. Half-time under the roof here at Docklands. Earlier today, a 23-point win to Richmond over Hawthorn at the MCG, a 69-point win to Port Adelaide over North Melbourne. A little bit later, for most of our audience tonight, Sydney and Essendon at the SCG at 7:25 Eastern. And at 7:10 Central Time for our South Australian audience, you'll be headed to the Adelaide Oval, where the Crows take on the Lions. At halftime here at Docklands, the Cats by 16 points. For their thoughts on the first half of proceedings, Chris Johnson and Nathan Burke are your experts.
Well, at the moment, it's 16 points, 13 points at quarter time, 16. It's only 3 points difference between quarter time, half time. I really think at the moment that St Kilda, I can go through the stats and I can talk about it, 2 different things, but I just want to tell you what my eyes are seeing, listeners, is that one team is working harder than the other. The other team is just not being accountable when they haven't got the ball by getting behind the ball, which is St Kilda at the moment. St Kilda are allowing Geelong to actually use the ball as they please. There's no pressure on the ball carrier whatsoever. They're able to use the ball from almost a defensive line right back in deep defensive 50 all the way up to half forward. So until you get that right and start putting a bit of pressure, nothing's going to work in your favour. I do see glimpses, Berkey, of what St Kilda can do. I think the player that's been sensational for me that I've loyally liked with St Kilda is Sinclair. He's really holding it together down there. I don't know whether he's been very good down in the back half. I don't know whether they need to put him into the middle, get him up around the middle of the ground a little bit more. He's been fantastic in the back half. But what I do think that needs to happen more than anything is that they just need to get work ethic into the game, because their work ethic at the moment is really, really poor, St Kilda. Geelong ain't doing nothing special. I said that just minutes into that in their second quarter. They're not doing nothing great or nothing special in terms of, turning one, a half chance into a goal. They're just doing the fundamentals right. And if St Kilda can actually pressure them and make them make decisions rather than actually just be willy-nilly and let them run and carry the ball in time and space, well, this is going to be a win to Geelong. They've got a half to turn things around, and I think they can.
Yeah, let's hope they can and make this game close, because if they can't, well, then I think Geelong are just going to get a goal, and suddenly they'll find themselves 5-6 goals ahead, because I think you're spot on that the Cats are working far harder than what the Saints are, and that is not only when they've got the ball, when they haven't got the ball. So many times the Saints players have looked up and they really haven't had anyone to go to, because the Geelong midfielders are Selwood and Guthrie and the guys, they're actually playing both sides of the ball. They're playing defence as well, and they're quickly manning up the Saints, any loose player through the middle of the ground, whereas the Saints, when they lose the ball, their midfielders are getting caught in no man's land. The ball's either going over their head or it's going around them. They're not picking up a player. They're just going back and guarding grass and thinking, you know, I'm in the vicinity. I'll be able to do something. But the Cats are too well drilled to not capitalise on that. And we've seen them a couple of times take the ball from one side of the centre square over to the other side of the centre square. Guthrie got a goal. Blitzarves was about 3 millimetres away from getting a goal from that type of play. And that just shows me that the Saints are guarding grass, and when Geelong have time and space, they'll go around that, and they'll make that a goal every single time. I think Callum Wilkie and Dougal Howard did a pretty good job. Hawkins was a little bit unsighted in that quarter. Cameron had one shot for goal, probably should have kicked it, but wasn't looking as threatening as what they were in that first quarter. We've seen Max King kick 2 from very limited opportunities. What I'd love to see the Saints do is actually get that ball within that 20-metre range from goal. It's not getting into that range. They only had 9 inside 50s that quarter, 23 for the first half to 29 for the Cats. Their inside 50s are very high. Get the ball deep, allow Max King to do his work closer to goal. We saw them get a long one in where Rowan Marshall took the mark and kicked the goal. So deep entries for the Saints, better defensive effort from the Saints, and for the Cats, they need to just keep doing what they're doing.
St Kilda are number 2 in the competition for turnovers behind only West Coast. They average 74 a game. They've turned it over 40 times in a half of footy so far. It's an area of the game they've just got to fix.
And that's where I call them a blue-collar team. They have to be blue-collar, because if they rely on, we're going to use our skills to cut teams apart and get the ball from one to the other, they can't do it, so they've got to bring that blue-collar work ethic.
This team isn't a mile away in terms of its list profile from the team that won an elimination final a couple of years ago. If you had have asked anyone that watched footy pretty regularly, what's the identity of this St Kilda team? Well, the one word probably would have been pressure. And that's when they play their best footy, is when they bring that manic pressure, and that is what they do so well. There's no pace, there's no zip, there's nothing that stands out to you about the way they've gone about today.
They've brought it in a couple of stages within the game, but they've got to bring it through a whole quarter. They can't bring it. We see. I spoke about Jade Gresham, about he brought a little bit in terms of his pressure, and we had a couple other examples in the middle of the ground, but that was too far in between. They've got to bring it for consistent time through in each quarter.
That is the challenge in front of the Saints here at half-time. It's a 16-point deficit they face to Geelong, 4-4-28 to the Cats, 6-8-44. Nathan Burke and Chris Johnson are your experts. Kieran Peterson's on the boundary for us, the Carlton captain in the AFLW. Jess Webster and myself, Joel Peterson, calling the action for you. Second half, not too far away. We'll run you through some scores from a big day in sport. Take a look ahead to the second half here at Docklands as well. That's all on the other side of the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
Hello, this is ABC News with David Rowlands. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky says difficult negotiations are now underway with Russia over the evacuation of a large number of wounded fighters from the key southern port of Mariupol. Larry Buttrose has the latest.
The fighters have been holed up in the city's massive steelworks for months now, resisting the overwhelming Russian numbers that surround them. They're now suffering an acute shortage of medicines to treat badly wounded soldiers, as well as food and water. In his nightly address, Mr. Zelensky said Ukraine is doing everything to evacuate every one of the remaining defenders from the steelworks. He said Kyiv was using what he termed influential intermediaries in the negotiations.
The Queensland town of Gympie has been isolated by floodwater for the third time this year. The Mary River is expected to peak around 16 metres this evening, flooding some businesses and possibly a handful of homes. Meanwhile, floodwater has receded at Laidley, west of Brisbane, where the main street was inundated yesterday. Shop owner Rebecca McGrath says the damage could have been worse.
We haven't had any major damage, thankfully, and no loss of stock. We got that lifted. We're doing at the moment what we can to just salvage the flooring. We've been in there with vacuum cleaners yesterday afternoon and this morning.
Prime Minister Scott Morrison has sought to clarify his concession that he can be a bit of a bulldozer, saying the pandemic meant he had to push through to effectively govern. Yesterday, Mr Morrison pledged to take a different approach to being leader, saying he'd change aspects of the way he operates if he were to win next weekend's election. Labor immediately seized on the comments, saying the Prime Minister was trying to fool voters. While campaigning this morning, Mr Morrison has been pressed on exactly how his style would change.
We've been effectively dealing with a global crisis for the last 2 years. And that was a time for me as Prime Minister and my government to be in the gear of pushing through.
Defence Minister Peter Dutton has dismissed suggestions the coalition put political interests ahead of national security by failing to brief Labor well before the announcement of the AUKUS Defence Pact. Reports in 9 newspapers suggest the United States wanted assurances that the new pact would have ongoing support from both the coalition and Labor. Opposition leader Anthony Albanese has seized on the reports, saying he was only briefed the day before the announcement was made public. Mr Dutton has conceded bipartisan support for the pact was expected, but argues that news of the deal would have leaked if Labor had been looped in earlier.
That wasn't a requirement for Labor to be briefed, months before. It's a complete fallacy. And Mr Albanese has misled the Australian people today. He really has. And I think what it demonstrates is that Mr Albanese cannot be trusted when it comes to national security.
Officials in China say the country's first major jetliner has made a successful test flight. The official Xinhua news agency says the jet produced by state-owned manufacturer Comac took off from Shanghai and flew for over 3 hours. Production has been dogged by certification woes as US export rules have delayed the shipment of spare parts. China Eastern has signed an order for the planes. The ACT has recorded 1,001 new COVID-19 cases in the latest reporting period, down from yesterday's figure of just over 1,200. There are currently 71 people in hospital with the virus in Canberra, 3 fewer than yesterday. 5 patients are in intensive care, with 2 requiring ventilation. 80% of Canberra children aged 5 to 11 have received a vaccine dose, and 75% of Canberrans aged 16 and older have received their booster shot. Police say an investigation is underway after a hooning Ford Falcon hit a stationary police car in Bendigo in northern Victoria. Video footage of the incident posted on social media shows the car doing burnouts around a stationary police car, with dozens of people watching on in the early hours of this morning. Victoria Police Acting Superintendent Troy Hargaden says he's not sure if the alleged hoons were at the pub beforehand.
We've seen some minor damage caused to the police vehicle. That could quite easily have been a person or a member of the public who received significant injuries as a result of that dangerous and unacceptable behaviour.
And South Australian police say a man has been stabbed at Elizabeth Vale in Adelaide's north. Authorities were called to the incident on Pastor Street at around 1:45 this afternoon. SA Ambulance says a man has sustained serious injuries. This is ABC News.
Power outages can occur at any time. You may lose your electricity, internet, mobile phone service and landline access. And outages can last for days or even weeks at a time. A battery-powered radio may be your only source of information during an outage or in an emergency. Now is the time to check your radio works, has plenty of spare batteries, and make sure it's tuned to your local ABC radio station. ABC Radio is your emergency broadcaster.
The 2022 AFL Premiership season. Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Patton, who kicks St Kilda inside 50 and coming down with it is Marshall. Stood tall in the contest and reeled in a grab, and he'll have a shot on goal 30 metres out directly in front. So St Kilda really need this to give his side a lift, and Marshall makes no mistake. Duncan, who's marked just on the edge of the centre circle. Lovely delivery to Cam Guthrie at half forward, who can wheel around and sees an open goal square. Hawkins, Shepherd's on the line. Goal to Geelong. Bills to Gresham. Tries the impossible from the pocket to the goal square. Marked by King on the line, and he pops one through. That's King's second of the afternoon.
So unfortunately for Saints fans, Jack Higgins has gone out with a concussion, as we mentioned before.
Half it for the Cats, swings it inside the 50. Stengel takes the mark. Here is Tyson Stengel. the former Tiger and Crow, 2 behinds already today. He's made an impact this year at Geelong from 45 metres out. He continues to do so with set shots like that.
This is the 2022 AFL Premiership season.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Half-time here at Docklands, Saturday twilight football. Great you could join us on Grandstand AFL and ABC Sport Digital. Big day of footy. Couple of games tonight for most of our audience. Sydney and Essendon's where you're headed after our game. And for our South Australian audience, you'll be headed to the Adelaide Oval for the Crows and the Lions. Earlier today, Richmond by 23 points over Hawthorn. Port Adelaide big winners over North Melbourne in Hobart by 69 points. In the NRL, the Rabbitohs won a thriller against the Warriors 32-30. 23 minutes in between the Titans and the Dragons. They're locked at 4 apiece. The Storm take on the Panthers tonight. Of course, that's all part of the Magic Round up in Brisbane in the NRL. And the A-League, of course, tonight, the elimination final, Western United and Wellington. The Reds and the Mariners tomorrow in the first week of the A-League final. So it's a big weekend of sport. We'll keep you across it all here on Grandstand throughout the course of the weekend. Joel Peterson and Jess Webster calling it for you. Nathan Burke and Chris Johnson are your experts. And Karen Peterson is on the boundary for us both. So the sub for St Kilda's been made with Jack Higgins out with a concussion, as you heard in the halftime highlights there. And Jack Steele also going down with what looked a textbook AC joint injury to his left shoulder in that second term. So a worry for the Saints skipper. For the Cats, Reece Stanley came off early, but he's back out there, and we'll get some more on the status of both of these teams from Kez very shortly. Couple of your texts on 0437 774 774. Love your input, so send us your name, where you're listening from, whether you've got a question for Berkey or Jono, or you're just driving around maybe between footy games or coming home from your local footy. 0437 774 774. Robin Montmorency says, can't wait to get Sam De Koning to join his brother Tom De Koning at Princes Park. Blues need one more big defender, and he looks ready-made. Berkey, he has been very, very impressive, the younger of the two De Koning brothers.
He has 10 possessions for De Koning and 5 for Maxi King. Maxi has kicked the 2 goals, so I reckon it's probably 50-50 at the moment. It's going to be a big second half, and if one can get on top of the other, that'll go a long way to helping their team win.
Big vote of confidence, though, that they've given him the job. A young player. Doona and Evie Nolan are listening in from Kilmore. Mentioned Marilyn from Mullaloo earlier on. With all due respect, Marilyn, that does sound a little bit like a Could-have-been's character. Marilyn from Mullaloo in the northern suburbs of Perth over in the west. But great to hear you listening into your Saints, hoping they can get a wriggle on. Andrew from Wangaratta says, enjoying the call by the fire with some light refreshments. Don't blame him. That's probably a good shout on a day like today here in Victoria. When is Hanbury available, he asks. Well, you have to come back from Munich for a start, I think, where he's undergoing treatment for his hamstring. And then, even then, you'd have to question, he might force his way back into a Saints side playing like this, Berkey, but he hasn't exactly been a walk-up start.
No, you'd have to think that shooting him over to Germany is a last-ditch effort. We've got some top-notch doctors and experts here in Australia, and if they're putting up their hands and going, hey, we're not sure, we've got to send him over to Hans in Germany, we're in strife.
It's not been the best investment St Kilda's ever made, you'd have to say. Em has texted in. She says, hey guys, on my way back from netball between Swan Hill and Hay. Thanks for making the trip a little more enjoyable. Go Cats, from Em, who plays for Hay. So they played Ngunnawal today in the Golden Rivers Footy League. So league sort of up and around Swan Hill.
Who won? Because I've been hanging on that one.
The senior footy big win to Ngunnawal over Hay. The Lions, they are the Hay Footy Netball Club. I'm not sure how Em's netball team went. Hopefully you had a win, Em, but thanks for tuning in. Enjoying the commentary, says another texter. Can you explain why 15 of the last 21 clashes between the Swans and Bombers have been in Sydney? Is there some arrangement for the Bombers to play in Sydney more often? I would say that probably comes down to money and little else, gents.
It's still a Sydney home game, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, so the Bombers won't get anything out of that unless Sydney have actually said to them, hey, we'll give you a bit of a sling if you go to the AFL and say, we'd love to play some big drawing teams up here. So they could very well have done that.
And the Bombers have got a big supporter base right around Australia, and they're one of the biggest ones outside of Victoria.
And they've played a few classics up there too, so that I'd say that would all feed into that.
And Brisbane always fight to get Collingwood.
Yeah.
Up there at the Gabba.
And just some of the stadium deals, they actually say you have to schedule games that peak over 30,000 or 40,000. That's part of that, us playing at your ground. So that could be part of that.
Couple more quick ones on 0437 774 774 before the start of the second half here. Tim, Annie and Joan are Demon supporters. They're listening to us from Kakadu National Park. A cool 36 degrees here. Cold beer and prawns in the car fridge for dinner tonight. That is a great spot to be in. Bob says Chris Johnson, strong positive comments. Thank you. Agree with you, Bob. And Joe's texting in. He's our Around the Grounds correspondent for today in the O&M League. The Wang Magpies had a win against the Myrtleford Saints by 32 points. Dawson Simpson played in that game, as well as Callum Moore, the former Richmond player. And Mark from Mentone says, hey Saints, two things you can control are your effort and your attitude. How are yours going? I think they're going to find out a little bit about that here in the second half. Mark, 0437 774 774 to join us. Hopefully a bit more effort and attitude from the Saints in this second half. They trail by 16 points on Grandstand AFL. Here's Jess Webster.
So Stanley and Ryder to renew acquaintances in the middle. And it's a quick kick out of the middle by the Saints. But it's all Geelong. Duncan picks up the footy and just hacks it out to the dockside wing. The bounce is going to favour Billings, who is corralled by Blitzarves and gets a quick kick around the corner. Windhager gets a hand in there. O'Connor, though, he can't go with it either. And then I thought he might have given away a free kick, but the umpire says play on. Crouch to Windhager, who hand passes to Ross, who's tackled by Blitzarves. Coughed it up, though. Crouch picks it up, kicks it inside forward 50. Membry can't go with it. Mackenzie has a go. And then Steele, who's back on the ground from that shoulder injury. And coming through, Windhager, who gives it off to Steele, who overruns it. And the Cats arrive. Blitzarves with the tackle, and we've got a ball up inside forward 50 for the Saints.
Needed the Benny Hill music there for that little passage of play from the Saints.
That's like a cake of soap, at least for the St Kilda players. Duncan had a fumble as well to Stewart. And now to De Koning, who steps through the traffic to Dangerfield. Got the handball away while being tackled by Brad Crouch. Dangerfield was clean as he burst back onto the football, though. Handball to Stengel on the broadcast side wing. Loops the handball infield, looking for either Selwood or Cameron. Both beaten to it by Sinclair, who bursts away for St Kilda. Got it to Windhager, to Webster, to Gresham in the centre of the ground. Now back out to Webster. And now to Billings at left half forward. Pulls the kick centrally. Was clearly off the hands of O'Connor, wasn't it? And Narkle claimed the mark anyway. Swings it across the back 50 to Stewart for the Cats.
Billings just got a mouthful of steel for not kicking the ball to him.
Terrific pass from Stewart into the centre square to Smith, who's kick inside 50, falls into the path of Hawkins, who just gets around Howard, but Howard had the closing speed and strips him off the footy and wins a free kick for holding the ball. Well done, Dougal Howard.
Yeah, great tackle. He's a big man to bring down, Tommy Hawkins.
Oh, and Howard steps him and then leaves Hawkins, who only had one boot on, a little bit confused outside the boundary line. Long kick up the line for the Saints, taken by O'Connor at the back of the pack. Flicks the handball off over the top to Atkins, jams it on the left boot toward half forward. Wilkie in the wrestle with Cameron. Sinclair's there for the Saints. Try to feed a little underground hand pass along the boundary line toward Battle. Taken away by Toohey. And now to Smith. Run down by Windhager. No free kick. Toohey inside the forward 50 for Geelong. Goes to ground. Saints control it. Ross to Wilkie. And now bursting away outside the defensive 50 is Gresham. One bounce and a second along the back edge of the centre square. A third as he steps inside Duncan. Loops the handball into the centre. Windhager to Hill. And now to Sinclair in the middle of the ground.
From the centre circles, it's a good kick out wide to Mackenzie, who can run onto it from right half forward. Kicks to the teeth of goal. Membry is marked just to the right of the right behind post. And will eye the goals. Only 10 metres out, but a tough angle in the forward pocket.
Well, Jade Gresham would have Saints supporters' heart and mouth, but he did the right thing because there was nothing up the field. He went round and round in circles and opened up the fat side of the ground. Smart play from the young man.
So the Saints need this to kick off the second half in style, and memory doesn't let the Saints fans down. Geelong 6-8-44, St Kilda 5-4-34. The margin's back to 10 points, 3.5 played, third term.
Yeah, good call there, Berkey. I think there was nothing that he could go to. The numbers of Geelong were back. It was almost 2-on-3 in their forward 50. Couldn't go forward, came back inside, sort of used it well. But I think what they did too is they just raised their eyes a little bit once they got over forward to centre. They just raised their eyes and they had the defenders really, really spread. Tom Stewart had no idea what to do. And that's a rare sign to see. Tom Stewart undecided whether he goes forward or whether he goes back. So they can keep doing this, Saints.
It was Jack Sinclair too, who was the one who said, that's enough handballs.
Yes.
I'm going to kick the ball forward. Interesting that Jack Steele is starting a full forward in the square with that right arm heavily taped. So be interesting how much on-ball time he gets.
Keep a watching brief on that from the restart. The Saints in possession through Gresham and Crouch. Loops the handball inboard to Ross, who gets on the left boot, inside the 50, King. We know he tends to explode after half-time, Max King. 16 of his 21 coming into today came in the second half of games, 11 of them in the third quarter. Here he is, he'll have a shot from right on the arc, 10 in from the boundary line, left of centre.
Well, it's when they win the midfield clearances. The midfielders look up and they deliver the ball to his advantage side. That's been the big key to St Kilda this year when he's had a big day out.
So Max King will strike it from outside the 50. A slow and deliberate approach to get them really right back in it. He started at left. It stayed there. It's a minor score. Margin 9 points. Saints 5-5. Cats 6-8. 5 gone in this third term on Grandstand AFL.
Marcus Windhager, since he's come on as that medical sub, really shown a good bit of aggression and effort and pace, and I think the young fellow's lifted those around him.
Energy, hasn't it? It's been energy around the footy.
So Duncan getting the boos by the Saints fans to hurry up and kick it in, and he does so. Kicks that wide. It's off hands. Dangerfield collects, gives it to Selwood, who hand passes into the path of Close. It dishes it off to Tui, who has a bounce on centre wing. Runs to half forward, hand passes to Cameron, although it was at his feet. Wilkie comes in and tackles him. The ball ricochets back to Tui from 50 metres out, crosses the paint and says, thank you very much. Tui has 2 and Geelong have 7. 7-8-50 to the Saints, 5-5-35. 6 minutes played third term. Your experts on Grandstand AFL, Nathan Burke and Chris Johnson.
Well, John, there's a bit of class there by Tui. He mucked up the first one, handballing to Cameron, and just landed at his feet, but he didn't give up. And I think Seb Ross, he did the really hard yards of chasing him down the wing, but I would have loved that second effort chase to be a lot better than what it actually was then, Seb. That was not a good look when you allow the player who's only a metre in front of you to suddenly be 5 metres in front of you and kick a goal.
It was just class. Tui just measured that well, didn't he? He was running at full pace at one stage and then slowed down, then put the foot on the accelerator again. All class there by Tui.
He's a prodigious kick of the football. 4 goals on the season. Came into the game with 2. Jones from the restart for the Saints. Windhager tumbles his way up. Stewart was right there with him for company. Parfitt can't wrench it free in the middle for the Cats.
Jack Steele's moved up on ball, which is a good sign.
In they go. Ryder wins it down to the tap, shark by Selwood. Inside the 50, Hawkins. Too big, too strong, too good on that occasion. 40 out, smack bang in front.
Comes back to the clearance. Crouch was standing next to Selwood. Selwood just got rid of him so easy. Moved into the drop zone, or the hit zone, if you want to call it that. Received it at speed and got away from Crouch quite easily, and then just set the ball long to a one-on-one. It's pretty hard to move the big tomahawk in those situations.
He'll kick from just inside the 50. He's showing no signs of slowing down anytime soon. And he propels Geelong to a game-high 21-point lead with his second. The Cats 8-8-56. St Kilda 5-5-35. 8.5 minutes gone, third term.
We'd probably say the Saints have had the better of this quarter so far, been going for sort of 12, 14 minutes. But Geelong, what I love about good sides is they say, you know what, you're going to come out after half-time, you're probably going to get a rocket from the coach, and you're going to come flying at us. We'll limit the damage as much as we can, and when you take your foot off the pedal, we'll go bang, bang, bang. And that's what the Cats have done. They've just lifted and gone bang, bang, and they're top players, as you called it. Selwood, a clearance out of the middle, gets the ball one-on-one to Hawkins. He's the best forward at the moment of actually engaging, getting his defender out of the way, and all class from the Cats.
They've had the counter-attack all night. It's from the restart, going nowhere. Guthrie lays a tackle on Jones, and we've got a secondary ball up. So a game-high 21-point lead, 2-1 to start this third term. Cats are in control as Nevitt tackled heavily by Ryder, and again we've got a ball up still inside the centre square.
Saints have scored the opening goal in every quarter so far. They're the second best second quarter team in the competition this season. 7-1 from their 8 games, averaging plus 11 points in third quarters, the Saints. Geelong absorbed a bit of pressure early, as Nathan Burke said, and are now putting it back on St Kilda. Free kick to Gresham on the back edge of the centre square. Flares it wide to Sinclair, who steps around Myers, kicks inside the forward 50. Sharman the target. Mark was dropped in defence by Stewart. Long a handball for the Saints to Jones. Kicks to full forward. Cats with the numbers. Blitzarves can't mark. McKenzie right there with him for company. And the ball spills out for a throw-in. Left forward pocket. Saints deep into attack. They kick to the Lockett end here in this third term.
So the Saints need to find an answer. They've got a stoppage inside their forward 50. What can they make of it? It's palmed down by Blitzarves, who then picks it up and gives it to Cam Guthrie, who goes backwards to Stewart, who's under pressure with the kick. It's a high one towards half-back. Selwood has to turn spoiler, and the Saints can't keep it in, and we've got a ball in 55 metres around from the Saints goal.
Ball to be tossed back into play. Andrew Stevens, John Howarth, Jacob Mollison, our umpires. Community umpiring round, this round 9 of the 2022 AFL season. Some Bendigo Umpires Association umpires out there with the AFL umpires before the start of the game. There was a flood of fluoro green before the start of proceedings. Ball to be tossed back into play. Speaking of fluoro green, Paddy Ryder's boots are certainly brightening things up here under the roof. Steele lays a strong tackle on Dangerfield at the stoppage. That's a good sign for the Saints, but the Cats come away with it through Cam Guthrie. Handball to Parfitt, now to Myers in front of the interchange gates. Just got his kick away to Cameron, who's held up by Sinclair. Wanted to loop the handball over the top to Smith. Wheels around on the left boot, kicks inside the 50, battle stretches, can't take it in, and then Windhager's almost run down by Close. Handball to Wilkie inside defensive 50 for the Saints. Lovely vision, spots up Steele between the wing and half-back.
It's a great kick in the end to Steele, who marks, and kicks to Seb Ross, who's marked just inside the interchange gates. Hand passes off to Sinclair, who is corralled by Dangerfield, and that is a terrible kick. He's turned it straight over to Narkle, who on the counter-attack spots up Myers just forward of the wing. Nice chip kick towards half forward to Smith, who's got it 55 from home. Chips forward just inside the forward 50. Good mark by Duncan, who's marked just inside forward 50. About 48 from goal, slight angle to the right.
And listeners are probably thinking, why Geelong all on their own? Well, what they're playing at the moment, they're playing a roll-up defence, St Kilda. So if they've got a free man 20 metres in front of them, an opponent, they're going to take off and leave their man and come up and put pressure on that man, and that way just creates a link handball over the top or laterally, and that's why Geelong are moving the ball so quick from the back line into their forward line.
So Mitch Duncan will have to kick it all of 50 metres. Just misses to the right. But the Cats are well in control. 8-9-57, St Kilda 5-5-35. 30 minutes played third term.
There's got to be some stage, Berkey, that you've got to go away from that, because it's not working for him at the moment. Nothing is, even basic handballs.
Can't even bring it in from the back 50. Stoppage forced inside the defensive arc as Battle tries to link up with Wilkie.
they've got to be prepared to kick to a contest inside their forward line. Not everything's going to be perfect. Jack Sinclair had 2 one-on-ones inside 50, but it wasn't good enough to choose one of them.
Umpire flings the ball back in. Stanley knocked it out of the defence, or the forward 50 for the Cats. Gresham rockets a kick up the wing. Steele in the one-on-one against O'Connor. Spills to DeConing. Handball through the traffic. Atkins taken in the tackle. The number 30 was divided by 21 and 9. In Long and Steele for the Saints. And it'll be balled up right next to the AFL logo on this broadcast side. 22-point lead to Geelong, a game high. 14 minutes gone, third term on Grandstand AFL. High kick up toward half forward for the Saints. Pushing the contest. Membry will take it. King leads back toward goal. Membry waits and is patient. Kicks to the pocket. Now he goes to King. Can't reel it in. Blitzarves opposed him well. And it's a throw in left forward pocket for the Saints.
Right idea for King, but Blitzar's just too experienced and too big. Probably about 10, probably 12 kg over top of him.
So throwing inside the Saints forward 50. Marshall with front position in the ruck. It spills to Jones, who has a flying shot at goal, and that is what the doctor ordered for St Kilda. They peg one back. Geelong 8-9-57. Saints 6-5-41. 15 minutes played, third term. Your experts on Grandstand AFL, Nathan Burke and Chris Johnson.
It was hard to think where they were going to craft a goal from, but as it was just a little bit of brilliance from Rowan Marshall, who took the ball out of the ruck. And Zach Jones is always on the move. That's one thing about Zach, is that he's lively around the contest. Got a handball, chucked it on the right boot from about 40 out, and through it went. So those sorts of goals, they need to keep those sort of things coming, because if it's going to expect to be beautiful, link up, hit Max King on the chest, Geelong aren't allowing those.
The Carlton captain in the AFLW, Kieran Peterson's with us on the boundary. Kez, Jack Higgins subbed off in that second term with concussion. Is there any sign of him down on the Saints bench?
Unfortunately not, Joel. Jack Higgins has not re-emerged from the room since he was subbed off with concussion in that first quarter.
So, not good news for the Saints. His second concussion in 5 weeks, and we know that he's got the history of brain injuries as well. As here is Ross from the centre of the ground, kicks to full forward. Kolajasny gets back there to spike it through for a rush behind. He's had a couple of brain surgeries, of course. Jack Higgins spent some time out to deal with his health, so we hope the best for him. Unfortunate to see he's been subbed out of the game with concussion for the Saints, which will no doubt be a story which we get more information on in the coming days.
So Cam Guthrie to Duncan, whose kick isn't the best, up towards the wing. And the Saints win it through Wilkie, who gives it to Webster, back to Wilkie. Through the hands of McKenzie, back to Wilkie. Now to Steele, close up against the boundary line, just squeezes a kick towards half forward. Long loses his footing. Ross picks it up, but just escorted over the line by Zach Guthrie, and we've got a throw-in where the 50-metre line intersects the boundary.
So ball will be tossed back into play. Cross half forward for the Saints. Stanley reaches over the top of Marshall. Does the roving as well. Farms the handball up to Parfitt. Got it away in the Ross tackle. McKenzie there for the Saints to Crouch, who stabs the kick to full forward. King leads the race into the pocket. Can't collect it cleanly. Atkins there with him every step of the way. Steele's there for St Kilda. He gets it around the body to Wood, who swings it. Goal with Sharman.
Well done.
Juggling mark on the behind line. Right next to the left-hand behind post. Has pulled it in. He'll go back on a tight angle, 15 out.
Well done, young man. Kept his eyes on the football. We know it's quite dangerous going back in that space with the flight of the ball. You've got to deal with players coming the other way, but certainly other point posts and goal posts at the same time. Just needs to think his way through here.
Unused as the sub in round 2 for his first of the season. He's got it. Cooper Sharman brings some life to the Saints fans as they pull within 10 points again. The Cats 8-9-57, St Kilda 7-6-48. The margin is 9, 18 minutes gone. Here in this third term, your experts are Nathan Burke and Chris Johnson.
The Saints have looked far more dangerous and lively when they get the ball with that 15-20 metres out from goal. Get it in there, put the pressure on. I think it was a Mason Wood snap for goal, went across the face. Really good finish on the boundary line from Cooper Sharman, but when they don't try and be too pretty, they don't try and overuse the ball, get the ball deep, that's when the Cats defenders are under pressure. And it also makes it difficult for the Cats to take the ball from one end to the other when it's coming from the goal square. So better play there by the Saints. See how the Cats respond, because they've responded every time so far this game.
A bit of feeling has returned to this contest, but it is the Cats who win it out of the middle. Dangerfield just thumps a long one inside the arc. The fist from Sinclair falls to Selwood, although Howard is there for the Saints. Dishes it off to Wilkie, who exits defensive 50 with a nice pass to find Jones at left half back. Dangerfield stands the mark. And Jones unsure where to go, looking backwards, and then dances around Dangerfield on the mark and decides to go short to McKenzie, who gives it back to Jones, who kept running. From the interchange, Gates is kicked down the line. There's a free kick. Saints way. It's Membry.
So Membry quickly rolls around on the right boot, sends it inside the 50. King stretches, can't mark, has runners. Billings in the forward pocket, goes around the corner and snapping the goal. Ben Long has really energised the Saints. They burst back into this ball game and are now only 3 points behind. 8-6-54. The Cats 8-9-57. Time on third term.
This is good by the Saints. Really, really good. Getting the ball forward, one-on-one scenarios. Doesn't mark it, brings it to ground. They've got ground level support. We haven't seen a lot of that tonight by St Kilda inside their forward 50. Ground level support. They got it there. So now what's going to happen, they should all know on the ground, Berkey, that now Geelong are going to come at them hard. What have we got? We've got just under 8 minutes to go. They just need to shut this game down a little bit for about 3 or 4 minutes and then go again and go again and go again. Because you know that Geelong's outfit will come out and try and kick at least a goal or get a strangle on this bit of the last part of the third quarter.
3 in a row to the Saints. They're within a kick and they might win it out of the centre again as Crouch gives it off to Ross, who has a bounce. Kick towards half forward. It's not a great kick. Bounces in front of King. De Koning with the fist. Tui picks it up. He's tackled to the ground. Umpire says, give it to me. Ball up 45 metres out from the Saints' goal at right half forward.
He had no prior opportunity, but the crowd wanted to yell ball, didn't they?
Yeah, the crowd are into it, which is it's good. It's a good atmosphere here.
Here's a solid crowd as well. 3-point ball game. The Saints trying to make a statement. Jones off the stoppage was dragged down in the tackle, and Selwood comes up with it for the Cats.
And Joel Selwood, he makes a statement of his own with a great tackle.
Game 3:41 for the former Sandhurst Dragon, who bangs it up the line. It's all St Kilda out the back of the marking contest on the City wing. Membry gave it to Hill. Hill smashes it forward. Zach Guthrie sat underneath it, but Long ran it down, knocked it to ground. Windhager's there. It rumbles around in the traffic. Free kick going to St Kilda.
And this is all because of their attack on the football. They're winning the contest and they're being first to the footy at the moment.
So Windhager swings it across the ground to McKenzie. Has Wilkie running for him at left half forward. Has a look inside 50. Goes into the King direction. Free kick. No, it's paid the mark in the end. King's mark just inside the field of play. 20 metres around from the left behind post.
Yeah, good switch from one side of the ground to the other there. It's really opened up the play, allowing Wilkie to come streaming off the half-back line, and really well-weighted kick into Max King. It's in the pocket, but we know players, they kick a lot of these days.
We'll have to curl it around the corner. Max King. It went across the face of goal, bounced inside the other pocket, and then went over, bounced for a throw-in.
Well, it bounced in between 4 Geelong players on the last line of defence. Amazing.
A bit of big bash here, and that was Max King's slower ball. It deceived everyone. So it'll be tossed back in. Saints still camped inside forward 50, trailing by 3 points. Billings off the pack! Brings the faithful to their feet. Back into the team, Jack Billings. And he's put St Kilda in front here in the third term. They trailed by 22 points. They've kicked the next 4 of the game to lead it by 3, 23 minutes in.
We'll take about Paddy Ryder too. That was one of the best pieces of ruck work you're likely to see. hit the ball over his back to Billings on the move. A metre right behind him, hit him on the chest, and a lovely left foot snap. That's one of those things you practice a lot of training, and you hope you get one in a month. And they got one today.
It's a good left foot finisher, Jack Billings. It was tailor-made for him.
Game on here at Docklands as St Kilda hit the front. They lead it by 3. Can Geelong find the answer as they have done all afternoon from the restart? Saints win it out of the middle. Steele to Crouch to Ross from inside the centre square to a dangerous position. It falls to ground. King comes out. Couldn't go with it. Windhager. Hand passes to Long. Hand passes backwards to Wood. Unsure where to go. Decides to just go for home. Saints have 5 in a row. 10-6-66. Geelong 8-9-57. 25 play third term. Your experts are Nathan Burke and Chris Johnson.
Well, it's representation at ground level. The ball went long. Ben Long has been fantastic in just giving a contest in the air, not only in this passage of play, but I think throughout the quarter when a long ball's come in, he's done the same thing. Ground level, Max King comes through, Jade Gresham gets the hand up, gives it up to the sub in Windhager, and just fantastic work by Mason Wood there. He didn't want to pull the trigger, but then realised that he had a path there to go through and put it on his boot and just steered it home.
Severos has been very good getting that ball out of the middle lately.
All of a sudden, a challenge is back with the Cats. 9-point lead to St Kilda. It was a 22-point lead to Geelong earlier in the term. From the restart, Selwood injects himself into things. Cameron's on the ball for Geelong. Kicks inside the 50. Path it off the pack. 47 out. Hooks it to full forward. Hawkins back with a flight. Knocked through. In defence, Webster got his left hand to it to see it through for a rush behind. Breaks the run of scores for St Kilda that includes the last 5 of the game. Margin is 8 points here at the 25.5-minute mark.
I think putting Marshall in the ruck as well and giving Paddy a bit of a spell in that centre clearance work as well. He's been pretty good in getting it to advantage with his midfielders.
So Sinclair short to Hill, who kicks short to Steele as Mark still inside defensive 50. Decides to kick to the dockside wing. Through the hands of Stewart. Blitz arms out the back to Dangerfield, to Tui, all by hand to Close. His hand pass looking for Stewart was already out of play. And a boundary throw in right in front of us here in the commentary position. Just defensive side of the wing.
So it was a 13-minute burst. Mitch Duncan kicked it behind to make it a 22-point ball game in favour of the Cats at the 12-minute mark of the term. And then the goal from Wood made it a 9-point St Kilda lead at in the 25th minute. Here's Stewart at the stoppage. He's caught holding the ball. Saints don't take the advantage. Great tackle. Sharman. They're all getting involved, the Saints.
The advantage was on. He had a couple of players inside, but he just elected not to do that. Smart choice.
So Sharman kicks down the line. King slipped over. Marshall makes a contest of it. King's out the back. Handball to Billings from the junction of the 50 in the boundary. Squares it up. Looking for Membry. Can't find him. Stengel's in defence for Geelong. Under pressure. Handball to Cameron. Kick smothered. It is desperate stuff from the Saints at the moment. Their fans are loving it. They've roared back into this game with the last 5 goals. They're piling the pressure on Geelong. And there's still 4 minutes to play here in this third term. They lead by 8.
Comes back to effort. They're just giving effort. They're in the contest now.
Jimmy Webster playing in the back pocket, smothered that ball in the forward pocket. That's the run they got now.
So throw it inside the Saints forward 50. Marshall couldn't go with it. Now comes up to Nevitt, to Kolajasny, and now to Stengel, close up against the boundary line. Kicks long down the line out the back. Dangerfield couldn't bring down the mark, and now the Saints come up with it through Sinclair. Hand passes inboard to Steele, who's just cool, calm and collected, and kicks out wide to Webster.
So Webster's got her on halfway. 10-6 plays 8-10. St Kilda with 6 goals, 2 in this term. Webster kicks to half forward. King among the pack. Kolajasny at the front of it all for the Cats. Handball to Atkins. Now to Nevitt. The second gamer kicks long up the city side wing looking for Hawkins. Brings it down with one hand. Handball infield. Lovely link up play as the Cats move it forward. O'Connor inside the 50. Cameron sprawls out. Can't take it with him. McKenzie inside defensive 50 for the Saints. Handball to Hill. Whips it around his body. Finds Ross. It's all coming up St Kilda.
They look like a different side at the moment, although Gresham's handblast didn't find the target. Sinclair was tackled as he kicked it towards half forward. Membry used the body well, couldn't complete the mark, but did the work at ground level. Kicks towards the goal square, and that ball hits the behind post on the full, was it? Or must have bounced before it hit it, so we've got a ball up inside 50 in the right forward pocket for St Kilda.
Just that kick from Seb Ross in the middle of the ground needed to be low and hard. He set it up too long, which allowed Geelong players to close the couple of St Kilda players in that corridor.
Blitz arms and Marshall. Marshall front spot, wins it down for the Saints. Toe pokes it off the ground toward goal. Minor score, margin 9 points for St Kilda. 10-7 plays 8-10. Let's get downstairs to Karen Peterson.
The only thing that's not going right for St Kilda at the moment, Josh Battle came from the ground a couple of moments ago. He was involved in a collision. It looks like he's come up and injured his right hand here on the wing a few moments ago. I'll keep an eye on it.
So they've already used their subs, St Kilda. Windhager's come on for Higgins as Tui from the kick in. Kicks down to the wing. It's off hands. Blitzarves Roves. Unsure where to go, and then hand passes backwards to Dangerfield, who slipped over. Steele comes in. Now Crouch has a go. Marshall loops over the hand pass to Sharman from 50 metres out. Decides to have a flying shot at goal, but it's missed to the left for a minor. 10-8, 68 St Kilda. Geelong 8-10, 58. The margin is 10 as we tick over to half an hour played in the third term.
Cats are rattled when you've got Paddy Dangerfield running around in circles and falling over. They're rattled.
Duncan exits the defensive 50, looking for Kolajasny. Membry's across to spike it out of play, and another ball in. They have ramped the pressure up here, St Kilda. 22 points was Geelong's lead at the 12-minute mark of this term. At the 24-minute mark, it was the Saints by 9. 5 goals in a row. Ball spun back into play. Parfitt dives after it for Geelong on the outer side wing. Webster bangs it forward for the Saints at the feet of Billings. He's clean. Atkins is right on his hammer. Billings handball to Crouch. His kick smothered. Trickles over and out of play for a throw in at right half forward. Earlier today, Richmond winners by 23 over Hawthorn. Port Adelaide by 69 over North. And the winner of this game likely to slide into the top 4, at least for now.
It's the Saints by 10 points as from the boundary throw in, Crouch on his hands and knees, hand passes to Marshall, and now Gresham, who just feigns a handball and then kicks inside forward 50. Not a great kick. Standing in best position is Stewart of the Cats, who swings it out wide to Tui, who's marked in the right back pocket.
So Zach Tui's been busy. Coming up for disposal, number 19. Joel Peterson and Jess Webster calling it for you on Grandstand AFL. Chris Johnson and Nathan Burke, your experts. Dangerous kick from Tui. McKenzie's in there to run it down. Steele, the captain, sends it to full forward for the Saints. Stewart left it behind. The door opened for Membry, and he got it slammed in his face as he walked into an open goal. Tui's back there on the last line to collect for the Cats. Chips it short to Kolajasny, and they can settle things down here, the Cats' defence.
I'm not sure who that was, but that was almost a match-saving tackle there on Membry running into the open goal square.
So Kolajasny kicks for territory down the wing. Webster with the big fly and the fist down. Close against Steele. Close just paddled it towards the boundary line. How would the umpire see this? Deliberate.
Everything going the Saints' way now. That the Cats are completely rattled. They cannot get any chains of possessions going whatsoever.
So Ross with footy in hand from the wing. Kicks towards King, who has a couple to beat. Brings the ball to ground. Decoing at the bottom of the pack. McKenzie over the top. Umpires letting it go. And then has plucked out a free kick for a push going Geelong's way.
Well, the reason why the Saints have got themselves back in this, they've just got their work ethic up and they're actually competing almost at every contest, and they're slowing down the run and the chain and the link up that Geelong were able to do all in the first half.
Dangerfield kicks in front of the interchange gates. Ben Patton thumps it over the boundary line. It'll be tossed back in front of the interchange gates. Cats by 13 at quarter time, by 16 at half time, by 22 at the 12-minute mark of this term. It is now the Saints by 10. They have kicked 6 goals here in this third term to pile the pressure on Geelong. At the stoppage, Hill to Crouch. Look away handball to Windhager. Now to Ross. Inside the 50. Membry! Marks on his chest. 35 out, 45-degree angle left of centre.
Brad Hill take a bow. He's not known for his inside work there, Berkey, but he was fantastic on his inside work there. I seen it and I thought, is he going to go? And he went, and he was just able to get that easy fundamental of being clean with the ball and then giving the first option that was open to him.
And Jade Gresham's over-the-head handball, you just knew that players were going past.
So Tim Membry. The Saints have come with an almighty run here in this term to make it very tough heading into three-quarter time. He sticks it through. The Saints with a 7-goal third-term onslaught. And they turn for home, 16 points ahead of the Cats. 11-8-74 to Geelong, 8-10-58. St Kilda with the last 6 in the game, 6 unanswered to end that term. It's been a withering burst from the Saints, and it sees them 3 scores to the good at three-quarter time. Max King and Membry each have 2 for St Kilda. Marshall, Sharman, Jones, Billings, Ryder, Long and Wood also with goals for the Cats. Toohey and Hawkins both have a pair, as Stengel, Smith, Guthrie, that's Cam, and Brian Myers each have goals. What a turnaround that was from St Kilda. They trailed by 22 points in the 12th minute of the term, and they ended up by 16. Geelong 8-10-58. The Saints 11-8-74. It's going to be a thrilling final term. It is coming up next on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital. This is Grandstand AFL.
ABC Sport now has its very own newsletter, and we'd be pumped to have you on board.
The ABC of Sport will provide a wrap of all the best stuff that's happening in sport every week.
Simply go to abc.net.au/connect
and get ready for a sport hit in your inbox every Friday.
Get on board with the ABC of Sport newsletter
for content that makes you think
or allows you not to.
The 2022 AFL Premiership season. Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
From the centre circles, it's a good kick out wide to Mackenzie, who could run onto it from right half forward. Kicks to the teeth of goal, Membry. Mark just to the right of the right behind post. And will eye the goals. Only 10 metres out, but a tough angle in the forward pocket. But the Saints need this to kick off the second half in style, and Membry doesn't let the Saints fans down. Wilkie comes in and tackles him. The ball ricochets back to Toohey from 50 metres out, crosses the paint and says thank you very much. Toohey has 2 and Geelong has 7. So throw it inside the Saints forward 50. Marshall with front position in the ruck. It's Bills to Jones, who has a flying shot at goal, and that is what the doctor ordered for St Kilda.
King stretches, can't mark, has runners. Billings in the forward pocket, goes around the corner and snapping the goal. Ben Long has really energised the Saints. They burst back into this ball game. So it'll be tossed back in. Saints still camped inside forward 50, trailing by 3 points. Billings off the pack brings the faithful to their feet. Back into the team, Jack Billings. And he's put St Kilda in front here in the third term. They trailed by 22 points. They've kicked the next 4 of the game.
Long, hand passes backwards to Wood. Unsure where to go. Decides to just go for home. Saints have 5 in a row.
This is the 2022 AFL Premiership season.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
They made it 6 in a row by the end of the term, St Kilda. It was an almighty rush that they came with. They lead by 16 points as we turn for home here at Docklands. 11-8-74 to Geelong, 8-10-58. A couple of games to close out Saturday night football at the SCG. It's the Swans and Essendon. And there to preview that for us is the cross-country traveller in Ben Cameron. G'day, Benny.
Yeah, g'day, Joel. It is a Saturday night game at the SCG, and the Swans are trying to stop a 2-game skid. They've lost their last 2 matches, both of which were at this venue. Now, Essendon are, of course, hoping that last week's win over Hawthorn is a circuit breaker for their season. There's a great history of fixtures between this pair at this venue. Of course,
Tony Lockett's behind after the siren comes to mind, and a recent history of close finishes. The past 5 matches between this pair decided by less than 10 points. Essendon are 2-6, which is where they were last year, only to recover and play finals. Can they start a similar run tonight? The Flu 5 are back for the Dons: Ridley, Durham, Kelly, Guelphy and Waterman. No late changes for either side. The Medi subs, Waterman and Clark, as he was last week. Joel?
Thanks, Ben. For the rest of our audience, well, the South Australian audience, you'll be headed to the Adelaide Oval for the Crows and the Lions, with Aaron Bryans heading up the broadcast there. The Saints by 16 points. Chris Johnson, Nathan Burke. Wow.
Well, the Saints did everything in that quarter that they didn't do in the first half. Their pressure was outstanding. It started with Crouch, Ross and Gresham. They're in front with the clearances now 35-27. Ryder and Marshall started to take over in the ruck and put the ball wherever they wanted. It was just an intense effort of football, and young Windhager started that off with Benny Long, and as you called it, Jono, they're working the forward 50, 12 inside 50 tackles to 3.
And Ross and Gresham just got really, really busy with a combined 24 possessions between them.
Gresham was in on the opening clearance there, trying to force it away from Dangerfield, but the Cats champ kicks to full forward, back with the flight. That's a good mark. Sharman, in fact, battle in defence, who read that nicely. Chips it short to Sinclair, and out wide to Patton. It could have been the dream start for the Cats, but the Saints defence stands up. Patton kicks up the city side wing, looking for Long. Atkins right there with him, 2 hard nuts. McKenzie tries to soccer it off the ground. Jones moved it forward by foot for St Kilda to Gresham. His handball, not clean. Cam Guthrie to Stewart, to Dangerfield, now to Smith in the centre for Geelong.
From the centre circles, can kick Geelong inside forward 50. Hawkins! Oh, free kick. Howard's given away a free kick to Tom Hawkins, who's going to line up for a shot on goal. 40 metres out, only a slight angle to the left.
Goodness, I'm not going to talk about spalling from behind from defenders anymore, because I've got no idea what's a free kick and what's not. That's just soft. Let 2 big men go at the football. Tommy Hawkins is too good a player to get free kicks like that.
He's tough to beat, Tom Hawkins. He's kicked 2 goals already this evening. To the boos of the Saints fans here at Docklands. And when the Cats need Hawkins, he hits the post. Uncharacteristic from Hawkins. Didn't make good contact with that one. For a minor score, 8-11-59, St Kilda 11-8-74.
Well, he just tried to steer it through. He's got that left to right fade massively and almost turned into a helicopter.
He's going to get another shot in.
He will. It's been kicked straight back to him from the kick-in. It was a wild skill error from McKenzie across the back 50. And Tom Hawkins is going to go back 25 out directly in front.
Well, he's just tried to kick it a bit longer than what he probably can, and that's why he's gone for the extra distance and why it's come off the side. Yeah, well, the player was 60 metres away from me. He thought he could run a little bit and then get it across, but not the case.
Had a shot moments ago and missed. Tom Hawkins, so often, if you give him another chance, he'll make you pay. Has he just snuck that in? He has. That was millimetres inside the right-hand goalpost. He struck only moments ago. And Tom Hawkins gets Geelong off to a good start here in this final term. Margin back to 9 points. The Cats 9-11-65. The Saints 11-8-74 through 3 minutes of the last.
This is a huge last quarter for both teams. The winner's 6-3. And that's a wonderful start. The loser is 5-4, and that's really on the precipice of getting overtaken by that middle run on the ladder. So 6-3 and 5-4 may not seem like a lot, but it absolutely is at this stage of the year.
St Kilda were 8th coming into this game following Richmond's win over Hawthorn, and Geelong sitting 5th. So an important game. It's middle stages of this 2022 season for these two sides. 9 points the margin here at Docklands in the final term. Secondary bounce in the middle, and Geelong win it. Guthrie to Selwood to Dangerfield, all linked by hand, and then a long kick towards the teeth of goal. Sinclair dropping in the hole, takes the defensive mark for the Saints and kicks across the face to Billings in the right back pocket.
Disposal number 25, Billings coming up for his 15th.
I feel in this last quarter, I think Marshall's got to play more time in the ruck. I know Paddy Wright is fantastic, but I think as the game wears along, he's probably not going to be the number one option for him.
Billings targeted battle with the kick. It was picked off by Atkins. Cam Guthrie couldn't keep it in, and a throw in left half forward for Geelong, 60 out from goal. So the Cats with the first of the last term, trying to make their way back into the contest after conceding 6 unanswered goals. There was a 16-point lead at half-time. It turned into a 16-point lead at three-quarter time for the Saints. Selwood off the pack, kicks to full forward. Wilkie's across to spike it through for a rush behind. The margin is 8 the way of St Kilda. 4.5 minutes gone, final turn.
All clearances this quarter won by the Cats so far.
So 1 goal, 2 to no score so far in this final turn. The Cats are peppering at goal as Howard from the kick in. It's partially touched off the boot, but falls to Billings, who kicks around the corner towards the wing to a pack. It's off hands long. Emerges with it through traffic and releases Jones by hand, who has a couple of bounces down the dockside wing. Gets around the Stanley tackle, not the Nevitt tackle, just got the handball away to steal it. Curls it around the corner inside 50. It's off hands again. Windhager ends with Ryder, who hits the post. Oh, there was plenty happening in that passage of play. Ends with a minor score to St Kilda, who edge back out to a 9-point lead.
Stuff going on everywhere in there. Mark Blitzarv's collected Max King with a big old fist to the bonds. Paddy Ryder hit the base of the post. There's bodies flying everywhere. Stewart and Blitzarv's chip it around the defensive 50. Now to O'Connor for the Cats. On over the top to Narkle. Narkle flicks the handball onto Tui on the AFL logo. Broadcast side, run down by Ross. 360'd his way out of the tackle. That was good work. And now Parfitt to Narkle. Inside the 50. Eyes the sticks. Finds Hawkins. He stands up inside 50 again. Tight angle left forward pocket. He'll try and bend this one around to kick his 4th.
Seb Ross had him cold, just needed to hold that tackle, but unfortunately you've got to go and capitalise, and to Geelong's credit, they've done that.
And Hawkins makes no mistake. And the Cats are now throwing back the challenge at St Kilda. Again they absorb the pressure and find a response. And the margin's back to 3, with the Cats kicking the opening 2 goals of this final term within 6.5 minutes. 10-12 Geelong, 11-9 St Kilda before the thoughts of Chris Johnson and Nathan Burke. Let's go boundary side with Karen Peterson.
It's no surprise to see Geelong's midfield really have lifted to begin this fourth quarter. Chris Scott spent plenty of time at that three-quarter address, really revving up his troops, and Joel Selwood quite animated as well. Great news again for St Kilda with Jack Higgins come and he's re-emerged from the rooms. He's back on the bench. Unfortunately, through the protocol, he will miss next week versus Adelaide, but fingers crossed, nothing further.
Thanks, Kez. So Hawkins with 4 goals is now moved to second place on the Coleman leaderboard. If you're keeping track of that one, Lynch out in front. And from the middle, Parfitt squeezes a kick around the corner, but it's picked off by Jones, who hand passes to Gresham, has to evade a tackle. Hand passes back to Crouch. And then a swinging hand pass out to Hill on the outer side wing. Hand passes to Howard, who hits Crouch in a bit of space at half forward. And gives it to Webster, who kicks inside 50 and finds Ryder in space.
Lovely pass, well orchestrated there. Crouch had the switched the ball from the middle here out wide to Hill, and then he kept going and no one manned him up, and he was able to get that ball on the half-forward flank.
Now, Crouch has been outstanding, and there's a lot of the Geelong defenders all with their arms out going, hey, who's on this fella? We've got our blokes. Who's got him? Needs to make him pay now.
So kick the opening goal of the game, Paddy Ryder, to give the Saints a little bit of breathing space. He's got it. Saints back out to a 9-point lead. 12-9, 81. Geelong 10-12, 72. Your experts are Nathan Burke and Chris Johnson.
Well, that was the first real clearance, centre clearance, certainly, that the Saints had won this quarter. And they managed to maintain possession, really good looks going forward there. Didn't panic with the footy and just go, let's bomb it long. And I think it was Crouch involved a couple of times. And the shot that actually, the kick that went in came from Jimmy Webster, running off the half-back line. And Paddy Ryder, for somehow, not sure how, just bobbed up 30 metres out from goal all by himself.
2 metre tall bloke with a beard in bright yellow boots. No one can find him.
Yeah, and that's what happens sometimes. It gets a little bit tight. You think, you know what, I'm going to make sure my bloke doesn't get the ball, but you've got to play that team defence too.
Righto. So the response from the Saints, and the skipper rips it out of the middle for Geelong. Selwood goes inside the 50 through the hands of Battle. Hawkins is all over Sinclair in the tackle. Ball's locked up inside the 50 for the Cats. How many times have we seen that? They need a clearance and Joel Selwood just wheels himself to find a response. Up it goes inside 50 for the Cats. Rumbles around at the stoppage. Great tackle, Hawkins. Pins the arms, locks it up. Umpire says mine. Still 35 metres out from the Cats' goal at the Lockett end.
10 clearances for Joel Selwood this afternoon, alongside 23 disposals. As from the ball up, the Saints work it across the last line of defence. Mackenzie's hand pass is partially smothered by Nevitt and eventually goes over the boundary line for a throw-in 10 metres around from Geelong's goal.
Mackenzie not having a great last quarter, fair to say.
32,517 in here at Docklands. Majority of them Saints fans. Rollicking good time in that third term. They'll be on the edge of their seat at the moment. Steele at fullback takes it off the stoppage. Got it out to Gresham, bounced off his leg. The ricochet went straight to Sinclair. And the running race is on between Hill and Smith. It pitches on the logo on the outer side. Brad Hill first to it, comes infield to Windhager. The Saints try to draw some numbers forward of the ball. Windhager swings it across the centre square to Mackenzie. Broadcast side of the ground, just forward of the logo. The lefty chips it forward, just finds Brad Crouch. 60 metres out from goal for the Saints. Who's he got inside the 50?
You got King and Ryder down there.
They're in the same spot. He kicks there. King! Ryder from the back. The big fly from King in front. And Paddy stood strongest of them all.
You've just got to go to them. Given them they're not going to get outmarked. So at the very worst, the ball's going to come to the ground. Just get numbers at his feet, but Paddy could be the hero here.
So Paddy Ryder's got a couple already. Starts his approach 45 metres out, spins the footy in his hands. He's side up by 9 points. They might yet ride him all the way to victory. Ryder's got 3. And the Saints' 3-score lead is returned. 13-9-87 to the Cats, 10-12-72. And they say to Geelong, we can soak up a bit of pressure and find a response as well.
They certainly have. They've done well. They've actually put themselves in a good winning position here now, the St Kilda Footy Club. They responded Geelong, but now they've gone back at Geelong and said, how can you come with us or not? We spoke about Paddy Ryder earlier about how good his tap work is, and he's one of the best ruckmen going around the competition and probably the most valuable player to St Kilda playing in the ruck. But I think we forget how good he is up forward and above his head at the same time, and he's a beautiful kick.
So Marshall into the ruck and Ryder stays inside forward 50. Marshall down to Seb Ross, who's tackled immediately by Selwood. Umpire lets it play and then eventually calls for a ball up.
He's got their last 3 scores, Paddy Ryder. 2 goals, 1, and they've all come off his boot.
So umpire tosses the ball aloft inside the middle. Saints again win it. Billings kick around the corner. It's a nice mark to Membry. He's got it still inside the centre square as the players stream back inside forward 50. Ryder was short and Membry goes even shorter to Hill at left half forward, who chips it forward to Mason Wood, who's marked just outside forward 50 and then pokes a pass into the pocket where he finds Billings.
That's smart. That's smart by St Kilda. They did have King one out with DeConey down long, but I think here just about just rewarding the player, rewarding the effort of the lead and just keeping the ball alive. And making sure the Geelong defence have really been sort of honest there, and now they've got a shot on goal through Billings. Good kick he is at goal, good left footer.
So 45 metres out, close to the boundary. Geelong have come at the Saints. This will pitch just inside the field of play, fisted across the line for a minor score by Kolajasny. In fact, it's over the boundary line for a throw-in. Good result for the Saints.
Brad Crouch, he got that centre clearance again out of the middle. His work in tight, in the stoppages has been outstanding all day.
32 touches for Crouch. He's been brilliant, as you say, Nathan Burke. From someone who knows how to play well in the midfield for St Kilda, it's high praise indeed. Cats slam it outside the defensive 50. Smith bangs it forward, but it's taken by Wilkie just behind the centre circles. He goes wide to Wood and now to Sharman between the wing and half forward.
It's probably the first time I've seen the Saints set up really well behind the football when it was in their forward 50.
Sharman kicks long inside the arc. King's the target. Almost dragged it in. Got the right mitt. Almost touching the roof here at Docklands. Zach Guthrie shared a handball with Stewart. Got it back. Blasted it up the City side. Put it out of bounds on the full. Free kick to the Saints. Centre of the City wing. 15-point lead to St Kilda after they trailed by 22 in the 12th minute of the third term.
We saw this a bit in the third. The Cats are losing their shape ahead of the ball. When they're coming back out, their forwards are far too high up the ground and the Saints are just sitting back, and it's going to play into the Saints' hands. So if Cats are going to go on to win this game, they need to keep some forwards home and trust their defence.
So Wood loads up and sends it into the pocket. King again got fingertips to it. Couldn't reel in the mark. Crouch from the pocket. Almost a spectacular goal. Misses to the near side for a minor.
Max King has had about 80% marks in that forward line. Just hasn't been able to hang on to the last 20%.
So Tui comes streaming out of defence for the Cats. Kicks into the centre. Stanley, a towering mark in the centre of the ground. What's he got going back to goal? Pops it in front of Brad Close. Running inside the 50. Goal at his mercy. Snaps. Hits the top of the right-hand goalpost. It's left wobbling. So too the Cats fans' nerves. 15-point lead to the Saints. 16 gone, final turn.
Battle short to Hill in the right back pocket. He then chips it short to Battle, who kept running. Still inside defensive 50 for the Saints.
They've just got to keep this effort up, the Saints. To keep this effort up, they'll keep Geelong honest and they'll go through and win the game if they just be honest with each other and give effort.
So Battle long down the line to a pack on the wing. Blitzar's laying an important tackle. Just holds it up. And the umpire says, I will have it just forward of the wing in Geelong's attacking half of the ground. They trail by 15.
Joel Peterson alongside Jess Webster calling it for you. Nathan Burke, Chris Johnson, your experts. Carlton's AFLW All-Australian defender Kieran Peterson on the boundary line. It rumbles around at the stoppage. Tui tries to spin his way through. Now into the centre of the ground. Goes to ground. Picks it up. Spins out of trouble again. Brilliant effort, Zach Tui. Handball to Blitzarves. Now to Kolajasny. Pops it out into space. Sets Smith a task. He's in the race with Hill. Intelligently slaps it onto Myers on the centre of the City wing. He cuts the kick now to Duncan. Duncan's got it 2.5 kicks from home for the Cats. Goes wide and finds Zach Guthrie just inside the boundary line, 55 from home. Guthrie goes inside the 50, close in front of the pack, gets out the back. Cam Guthrie left it behind. Hawkins threw a boot at it, can't connect. Dangerfield in the goal square for Geelong. Last line of defence with Ross for St Kilda. Blasts a high ball to the edge of the 50. It'll come back in. Zach Guthrie's underneath it for Geelong.
Defensive hand pass to Duncan, who lowers his eyes, and that's a great pass to find Cameron 49 metres out from goal.
Well, Cameron tracked the ball. Once the ball was kicked out of the defensive 10-metre line, he tracked the ball out and not one St Kilda player went with him. So from the top of the goal square, he was able to walk out all alone right out to the 49-metre mark.
Yeah, Saints expected them to panic and just keep bombing it back in.
So we know he's a great striker of the footy. Jeremy Cameron hasn't kicked a goal so far tonight, but he has one now. Cats peg one back. St Kilda 13-10-88. Geelong 11-13-79. The margin's 9 points. 18 minutes played, final term.
the Saints were starting to get just a little bit scrappy. They got a lot of numbers back and they were just bombing the ball out, expecting the Cats to panic a little bit and bomb the ball back in. But Mitch Duncan, he's far too experienced and classy for that. He just knows that that's what the Saints are expecting. I'll lower my eyes and hit Cameron around about 48 metres out. And Cameron hasn't really had his kicking boots on today, but when it was needed, he put it through. These centre bouncers, Paddy Ryder's back in the middle against Reece Stanley. You've got Guthrie, you've got Dangerfield in there. It's really crucial who gets this ball going their way.
That's why you pay the stars the big dollars, because they deliver in the big moments, and that's what Cameron did from the restart. Crouch has been enormous. Handball to Ryder, now to Gresham. A weighted kick is perfect to Billings. Outstanding football.
He made that kick look good, Billings.
55-metre pass. Billings running with the flight. Kicks to the pocket. Max King goes up. Can't take the mark. Sharman the roving. Membry the snap. Won't get there. Strikes the inside of the left hand behind post. Out of bounds on the full. Penalty free kick from the last line to be taken by Duncan for Geelong. Margin is 9 points the way of the Saints.
So Duncan from the back pocket exits defensive 50 with a long kick. It's through the fingertips of Myers, but he did well to win it at ground level. He's hacked kick down the line, though. It's all St Kilda. Wilkie collects. Chip short to Sinclair. He's marked true centre wing position, city side of the ground, and wants to go backwards. He finds Webster, who sends it back inside defensive 50 to Howard, who wants to switch play. And does so, finds Patton at right half back for the Saints.
Patton's been a great inclusion this year. We know he had the long-term leg injury last season. Played every game in 2020 the year before that. Billings has kicked dangerous. Run down by Close inside the defensive 50. Billings has to go back and mop it up. Exchanges a hand pass with Webster and now Ross, who bangs it up the wing. Windhager's unguarded in front of the interchange gates and he clutches it to his chest.
I must say, this half of footy, they've set up better behind the football. St Kilda, their ball hasn't been great and they haven't used the ball well back behind the football, but they just look better once Geelong have got the ball and they've set up behind the ball.
Saints by 9 points. They led by 16 at three-quarter time after trailing by 16 at half-time. Kick to half-forward, taken by Membry. Off to Gresham, to full forward and Wood! Got rid of Duncan in the marking contest. Pulled it in at full forward. And this could see the Cats off.
It was a wonderful kick by Gresham because Duncan was playing in front of his opponent, but the ball just went over the back. All Mason Wood had to do was to put his two hands out, push Duncan in the chest and take a chest mark 15 metres out, 45-degree angle.
The Cats have won their past 6 against the Saints. Mason Wood from 25 metres out gives them a glimmer of hope that it might yet be 7. Misses to the left, minor score. Margin 10 points and plenty of time remaining.
Guthrie wastes no time to bring it in. Chips short to Smith, but gives it back to Guthrie, who chips it short again to Atkins. Guthrie kept running, collects the hand pass, wobbles a kick towards half forward. Ryder in front position, paid the mark.
They've still got to keep going forward here, St Kilda. Don't get into the trap of just chipping the ball around. If you see an opening to go forward, you need to go.
So Ryder chips short to Sinclair, flares it out wide to Hill, who's marked on the outer side wing. Just dances around Myers on the mark and then sends St Kilda back inside forward 50. Stewart brought it to ground. Long picks it up though, evades traffic, gives it to Windhager, who goes backwards to Billings. In fact, Billings will get on the end of it and marks 45 metres out from goal. Marked the kick by Crouch.
Well, Maxi King hasn't marked everything that's gone to him today, but he's competed really well, brought that to ground, and Long and Windhager going forward has really made a difference to that small forward line. Just their pressure and their zip, and it's made the Cats defenders look a little bit nervy at times.
So the margin's 10 points, not long left in this contest. Geelong have challenged St Kilda as Billings lets it go from 45. Just misses to the right. They're keeping their noses in front. Geelong 11-13, 79. St Kilda 13-12, 90.
Here goes Zach Tui with a tube up the middle. He is famous for it and he absolutely lays into it right into the centre circles. And it's all the Saints at the back. Sorry to kill the drama for you, Cats fans. Hill was there to memory. That was a good strike, though.
It was a good hit. Landed right in the centre circle.
That would have been a dead ball if it was cricket, because it was almost up at the roof. Membry, speaking of dead ball, is keen to take the air out of it. City wing sends it back to Dougal Howard, who's played a gun roll on Jeremy Cameron today. 1 goal for the Cats spearhead, 4 to Hawkins. But Howard's been outstanding in the defensive unit. Now the footy with Webster.
Cats players have got to push up. They can't be back in defence, saving the game. They've got to push up.
3 minutes remaining in the game. Saints by 11 points. Webster lays into it up the line, out toward the boundary line. Membry might have been keen to see it over. Stewart took it off the pack. Tui was tackled, got boots of ball. O'Connor slams it forward to a one-on-one.
Cameron has a couple to beat in the end. It's out the back. Sinclair picks it up for the Saints. His hand pass looking for Webster, crunched by Duncan.
I didn't think it was a free kick. I thought it was just a good contest.
Yeah,
It's been a free kick.
I think they played in danger.
Oh, did they? I just thought it was a great contest. Both players attacking the footy.
It was Mackenzie, the recipient of the free kick, who sends it towards half forward. Ryder out in front. Fisted away by him. Out the bottom of the pack is Zach Guthrie. He couldn't go with it. Tui over the top. A pack forms. And the umpire says, I will have a ball up between wing and half forwards to Kilda into attack. They lead it by 11.
Still 2 minutes to go here. So anyone's game still.
And Geelong, what we know Geelong will do, they'll just keep attacking. They'll take this game on at every chance.
They can score in bunches, the Cats. They don't need an invitation. Windhager slides in on the AFL logo outer side. Closest handball stolen by Ross. Hill slams it forward. Riders in from the side. Stewart spikes it 30 metres the other way. Zach Guthrie left it behind. Windhager tumbles in, been great since being activated as the sub. Atkins rips it away from the contest. Loops the handball over the top to the running machine, Smith. Coming off half-back. Cats trail by 11 points. They need to get a move on. And that they are. Myers flares it wide for Narkle. Dropped what he should have taken. Gathers. Goes inside 50 to Cameron. 49 metres out. Same distance from where he kicked his first earlier in the term. He'll go back for number 2.
I can't believe Wilkie. Wilkie was standing right next to him.
It too.
What's right with him? They're going to go to him every time he presents at the kicker.
So Jeremy Cameron, to give the Cats a glimmer of hope, kicks on the way, doesn't have the accuracy. Hawkins, as he pulled her in on the behind line, no.
He had a lot of it.
Umpire says no.
Oh, hang on.
And now they're going to review to see whether it was a behind or Tom Hawkins has taken the mark.
Or potentially hit the post, the point post as well.
So there's a bit going on with the score review. 11-point lead to St Kilda. Hawkins trying to juggle the mark as he went back toward that left-hand behind post.
Looking at this angle, we can see the ball makes contact with the behind post.
So it'll be a throw-in deep forward for the Cats. After the ball left Hawkins' hands, it hits the left-hand behind post. And so a throw-in. Cats deep inside forward 50. Saints by 11 points. 27 minutes gone in the final term.
Saints got 15 men inside their defensive 50.
And Geelong have set up well behind the ball, so if it's a quick kick coming out from the Saints, they've got it covered as the umpire spins the ball back into play. Hawkins, with the fly kick out of midair, goes straight up and down the mine shaft. Plenty of numbers around the ball. Gresham hand passes to Hill, who gets boot to ball. Ryder in front of Blitzarves, but he's coughed it up. It's a throw.
Oh, did he have the ball?
Free kick Geelong.
I'm sure he did.
And it'll be Stewart, I think, or De Koning, or Blitzarves rather. Who's going to take the footy?
No, Blitzarves walking away. They're all walking away.
Need a mark inside 50 here.
Yeah, it'll be Sam De Koning, who handballs off to Cameron, who's a good user. Chips short. Smith. Got it knocked away.
Why isn't Cameron inside 50?
This is killing Geelong because it's actually taking time off the clock.
Smith's 55 out. He's got a huge left leg on him. Gets to the numbers of the 50 and leaves his kick left all the way. 10 points the margin late in the final term. And the Saints fans have plenty of voice.
The Saints fans are on their feet here at Docklands. They know there's not much time left. Sinclair with the kick in. Kicks to a pack. It's over the head of King. Ryder at the back, gives it to Steele. Gives it to Gresham. Siren! The Saints have come from the clouds in the third term to record a famous victory by 10 points. The Saints go marching in, go power, be the secure. When the Saints go marching in. So Geelong led by 22 points at the 14-minute mark of the third term before the Saints kicked 6 in a row. They led by 16 points at three-quarter time. Geelong threw everything at them in the final term, but the Saints said challenge accepted. They win 13-12-90 to 11-14-80.
There was a Saturday statement from the Saints. They belong squarely in the finals fight in season 2022 as they take down one of the main contenders. And St Kilda get the job done after a withering 7-goal third quarter burst. They answered the challenge in the final term and saw the Cats off by 10. 13-12-90 to 11-14-80. As Jess Webster told you, we've got about 8 minutes until we take you to either Sydney and Essendon at the SCG or Adelaide and Brisbane. We'll get the votes in shortly from Chris Johnson and Nathan Burke, and we'll try and grab some reaction from the Saints rooms, although it'll be hard to blame them for milling around and enjoying this one with their fans. The goal kickers in the game for St Kilda: Paddy Ryder kicked 3, kicked 2 in the last term in the first of the match. Max King kicked 2, Tim Membry kicked 2. Singles to Billings on return, Marshall Wood, Sharman, Jones, Long for the Cats. 4 to Hawkins, 2 to Toohey, 1 to Cameron, to Stengel, to Smith, to Cameron Guthrie and to Brian Myers. The Saints snapped Geelong's 6-game hold. It's only the second time they've beaten Geelong since the 2010 qualifying final. They drew in round 21 of 2015. They last won in 2016. And they're back on the winners list against the Cats today in a big way. And for their trouble, the Saints should slide into the AFL's top 4 as well, which they do. Nathan Burke and Chris Johnson, our experts on Grandstand AFL. Your impressions of that, which was a rollicking good time in the second half.
It was a good game of football. Both sides really just played with great spirit. But we said it at halftime that the Saints are not a blue chip team. They need to be a blue collar team. And from around about the 7-minute mark of that, 8-minute mark of that third quarter, they really brought out the blue collar play. And the goals that they got 7 in a row weren't because they were playing fantastic football. It was just immense pressure. It was just want to win the ball. It was outworking your opponent. They started to outnumber the Cats whenever there was a loose ball. It was 3 or 4 extra Saints there. And that's what just those repeat entries. Tackles inside forward 50 really were weighted heavily in favour of the Saints. So they managed to keep the ball in, whereas early in the game, every time it went in forward, the Cats would just zing it straight down the other end and look really, really dangerous. So when they started to play that blue-collar, hard, tough football, that was the difference in the end. And really the Cats couldn't match it. They were found wanting when it got really, really tough.
Well, the first half, that's it. The Cats were just doing fundamentally, they were doing everything right. They were just getting the ball, making sure they hit targets, and the St Kilda players were just all zoning up. And once they got that right and started manning up and forcing Geelong to kick the contest, they were able to complete exactly what you've said, Berkey. They really got busy. Sinclair and Gresham in that third quarter really got busy in the clearances, in the contested ball, and they really put themselves in the middle of the game to actually then be able to push that ball forward. I think in that third quarter where it really set them all up. They kicked 7 goals only to the 2, I think, in the Saints' favour. And then what they were able to do is they were able to almost double their inside forward 50s compared to their opposition in Geelong, giving their forwards an opportunity to actually kick a score. And the ground representation. we were talking about that in the first half, and I thought they brought that in terms of actually hitting the scoreboard, but more than anything, putting the pressure on and allowing it to bounce out so quick, where Geelong were really good in the first half. It was a great game, and it just took a little bit of effort, teamwork to come together for St Kilda and actually get over this and get the 4 points.
The Cats side of things, they looked like they had it under control at half-time, and it slipped away from them pretty quickly. It was a 14-minute burst in which St Kilda banged on 6 unanswered goals, and it got away from them so quickly. Burke, is that a worry for Chris Scott and the Cats?
It is a worry, because I liken it to the other game I saw them play against Fremantle. They were doing things very easy against Fremantle, especially early in the game, and then when Fremantle really ramped up their pressure, they ran all the way over the Cats. I know there was close in the end. There was only a kick or so in it, but the added pressure from the opposition, once the Cats aren't allowed to play their way, they really struggle to find another way. And certainly when it comes to finals, when it's that real tough, like the Saints came out and played finals football in that third quarter, the Saints went missing. And when they played Fremantle, and Fremantle really got their defensive structures set up really, really well, the Cats were found wanting then. So against those two top teams, or two teams that are vying for the top 4 spots, I've seen them not be able to cope with that type of pressure.
And in the first half, the Cats, their speed, the way they looked, the way they were moving the ball, everything was quick. And then when it came to the second half, especially that third quarter, everything just slowed down for them. And whether it was the pressure of the Saints, well done to them, but they've got to be able to identify that Geelong, and then able to keep that speed on the ball or on each other at the same time.
At halftime, Mark from Mentone texted in and said, Saints, 2 things you can control are your effort and your attitude. How's yours going? Mark's just teffered in and said, effort, attitude, tick, go Saints. That was a very impressive second half performance from St Kilda. They move into the top 4. They might be pushed out by Sydney tonight. They might be pushed out by Carlton tomorrow. They will take it nonetheless. A 10-point win to the Saints. The vote's still to come ahead of a big night of footy here on Grandstand. Let's get down into the Saints rooms. Carlton AFLW captain Kieran Peterson is there. Kez, they seem a pretty happy bunch.
Very, very happy St Kilda bunch down here. Brett Ratton embracing most of his players on the way in. I think this song is going to be sung very, very loudly.
So the Saints very happy with their work indeed, mate. Should they be? We'll get some reaction from the Saints rooms and we'll send it down the line to our games for broadcast tonight. For most of our audience, that'll be Sydney and Essendon from the SCG. For our South Australian listeners, you'll be headed to Adelaide and Brisbane at the Adelaide Oval. The votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year, Nathan Burke.
Yeah, apologies to Seb Ross, who I thought was very good. Tommy Stewart played a good game with 27 possessions, and Tommy Hawkins with 4 goals. But I have given, and actually apologies to Jade Gresham as well. I couldn't sneak him in, but I've given 1 vote to Paddy Ryder. I thought his 2 goals in that last quarter were outstanding and really was a valuable player. 2 votes to Jack Sinclair. I thought his performance across the half-back line with 31 possessions was outstanding, saved the Saints time and time again. And for a full 4-quarter effort of midfield play was Brad Crouch with 36 possessions. So 3 to Crouch, 2 to Sinclair, 1 to Paddy Ryder.
Brad Crouch, 36 disposals, 18 contested, 10 score involvements, 5 inside 50s, 7 tackles, 5 clearances. That is a stat sheet stuffer.
It's a good day.
If ever there was one. And the Saints record a very impressive victory. They break a 6-game winning streak of Geelong over St Kilda, and they move into the top 4 at least for now. Jono and Berkey, thanks very much for your company. To Saints fan Stu at the back of the box here. Happy birthday for tomorrow, Stu. Thanks for your work tonight. To Jess Webster as well. To Kez in the rooms. Well, that was a hell of a performance from St Kilda. A 10-point win. For most of our audience, you headed to Sydney and Essendon at the SCG. For South Australia, it's Adelaide and the Lions. Enjoy